Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Cloud Ninja Podcast. Today we're joined with our regular co-host, of course, Free Gaming in the third, my guy Ryzen, and of course, my guy Black with Chia, aka Damon in 5. Could be Damon in 3, but we'll keep it at 5.
Yes, sir. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on? Welcome to
Ain't
the
nothing
boneless
different.
pod.
You call it the boneless pod?
Yeah, that's what we said on Sunday.
The what pod?
The boneless pod?
Yeah, we said we was going to do one in the middle of the week. I run the playback. I ain't going to do that right now. I'll do it later.
It was so crazy. Niggas had the pod again the same week.
Because we talked about fucking AMADO the whole time when we stopped cussing.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, I think that was a well needed discussion.
It was entertaining. I liked it.
It was a good one. It was good.
Factos.
There's people hating on Bar in the chat. Comments.
Yeah, I didn't even check. Yeah, I don't understand it, to be honest.
Except for Ryzen. Not for Ryzen. I'm sorry, not Ryzen. What's his name? Kamui. My bad.
Shout out Conway. I didn't even read the comments, to be honest. But I'd understand if people being on Sasuke's side. He is a fan favorite. And of course, people, it is like a good discussion or back and forth actions versus intentions. Which one would you deem to be more evil? So I don't understand people's side. People's side on other side. I should say that. I understand the other side.
Look, man. Yeah, I get it. But somebody asked me, can you have sympathy for AMADO? I was looking dead in their eyes. I was like, no, I can't. It's like, you can't convince me. So, but I understand. So I'll say that. Like I said at the end of the day, pitting them up against each other, this is decisive as ever for me. But individually, I still wouldn't even call either character. Well, I don't know with AMADO right now, but I still wouldn't call either character flat out evil or like a villain. So, yeah, I never really even looked at them like that, though. But pitting them up against each other is a whole different, topic and discussion.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it because I was about to ask a question. I'd probably let back into it.
Here's my thoughts about it. If we're calling Mizuki evil, we gotta call AMADO and Sasuke evil.
Yeah.
Oh, easily.
But I wanted to go into another topic though. What do you guys think AMADO's plans are for KOJI? I was reading the chapter, and we've heard the pod. And go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think the popular opinion as of right now is just gonna wake him up, tell him, "Yo, I need you to steer me to the correct path to actually awaken my daughter." And once that happens, I guess KOJI will be free. And of course, he's probably gonna threaten him, "Hey, if you don't do it, I'll just turn you off forever." So it's gonna be an interesting situation.
I agree with it.
He's gonna turn his TV off. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There's a good chance KOJI finds a way to incapacitate AMADO before he could even do it again, because now he understands what's going on.
Or at the same time too, KOJI's been away for a while, and he saw what AMADO can do. He can turn him off with just a word or a switch or anything like that. So maybe he found a way to get around that, or maybe remove that component that
he couldn't use that way last chapter.
You said what?
I said he could have used that way last chapter.
What do you mean?
The way to get around it, like the passcode.
Oh yeah, he could have.
It would have been he could have used that way last chapter.
I mean, if we think about it, this kind of works for Team Boruto. I mean, they technically have a man on the inside. I mean, for a while now, AMADO has kind of been watching them secretly and kind of planning everything, but now they have KOJI. Don't forget, there is a chance that KOJI and Inojin will have that connection up and running soon. I mean, of course, it's implied the Toad was left in Orochimaru's base, but at some point, Boruto's got to go there. If he finds the Toad, discusses it with everyone, gives it to Inojin, as soon as KOJI wakes up, talks to AMADO, he could potentially discreetly connect to Inojin. Now you have Boruto, Sarada, Sumire now connected to Koji, and now he can feed them information on the Amado side of things.
Yeah, true. Do you think it was a rookie move as well for him to even trust Koji to send that scroll?
I would say yes, but I feel like this just adds on to Uchiha's point because it feels like Koji shouldn't have made that mistake. Because you're telling me infinite futures, pre Mamushi's death, and not one of them does Amado find out about prescience or just take an interest in Koji. Like he was able to still predict that Code was still gonna be a fool about like his own plan, but like letting yourself get off guard with Amado, it just feels a bit off. I don't know. I think it's because he has that infinite aspect of his ability. Like not one of them were you warned that Amado might try something like this. I don't know.
I think it's going to be interesting once we see the first interaction between them two, see who actually has the head up, and then I'll be able to have a more firm stance because it could be like everything's going according to Amado's plan, or it could be like Amado fell right into the trap of Kashin Koji. So that's how I'm really weighing it right now until we get to like chapter 36 or 37.
I like the commentary that my God for even got on screen. Is there a possibility that Koji bargains and say, "I need you to upgrade me, and then I'll tell you the correct path"?
I think the best thing he can do, if it's even possible, like within a model's power, would be like, give me the ability to willingly check the updates whenever I want to.
Hell, Koji could also play it. He could also play it against Amado. I mean, if there's no future where he revives Akibi, that forces Amado to do all that he can to actually get rid of the divine trees.
Yeah. I like that idea. I'm still like, for me, I'm along the lines that something's about to happen to make Amado break to the point where like either he sees the future and he doesn't agree with it, or Koji tells him, because like it's inevitable. Like Amado's doing this all because of his daughter and because he heard Koji explain the fact that he can see all of these futures. So he wants to see if he can access the data, most likely to see if there were possible futures where Akebi was revived and how to go down that route, regardless of whatever outcome there could be. But if Kashin Koji reveals something to Amado next chapter that he won't like, basically saying you can't do this because that, and the third, or it's always an inevitable point, and whenever Akebi is revived, so we cannot allow her to be revived through this means, you got to find another way. Like, Amado's not going to hear none of that, and he's going to force his way through. So I'm more so leaning towards that end, to where it's going to go like, he's going to try to do it himself, realize he can't, then he's going to wake up Kashin Koji and try to bargain with him like, hey, I'm going to keep this shut down, or I'm going to do this, that, and the third, or you can tell me all the futures you've seen with my daughter and how to get to them. So that's where I'm thinking it leans towards.
Or he could bring up the point that as well, he has to get rewrites. So he can't really even like pinpoint certain timelines. Like he can't really, like, if it's not a part of the prescience ability that, or I'm sorry, the different timelines that he's updated with, if none of those involve a Kiwi, he can't tell him none.
100%.
That's what I'm saying. So he might get something that he won't like, and he wouldn't like that. Basically being like, no, it's impossible. Like, and he 100%. Should do some crazy stuff.
And you know, especially because Perseus hasn't even updated yet. So like all the timelines he knows of are dead timelines. Like we've moved past that. So he even then, even talking about it, we still have to wait for an update. And you know, this brings on a question. If they do talk about old timelines, would you want Koji to give a definitive answer about Akibi, or would you rather it still be vague? Because if we do get a definitive answer, if she's just a normal person, I feel like that just makes the story kind of bland. Because no, she's just going to be a normal human coming back. Like I'd rather it be vague for a while. Like, oh yeah, I don't know if Akibi will ever be revived, because by the time you even get close, Kawaki dies to this Shinji. Because I feel like for Akibi for us to get a timeline where Akibi is revived, we have to get a timeline where the divine trees are dead. Because Kawaki said it himself, I will only do this after all the divine trees are dead. If we're still or like there's a Hail Mary and like Kawaki does it beforehand, but with what we know Kawaki is willing to like just die regardless as a big fu. We've seen it from other timelines where supposedly he dies, and Naruto and Hinata never got freed. So I wouldn't put it past him to say, "Screw it, if I die, you're not getting Akemi back." But for using the info we know, if there's no timeline where we win yet, that means there's no timeline Akemi comes back. For Akemi to come back, Koji would have had to have seen a future where the divine trees are just done for, like they're gone. At least that's what I.
Yeah, or a timeline maybe where Boruto dies.
Yeah.
But if Boruto dies, the world is over. Then
It's a moot point.
My thing with the Akibi thing, I get Arise's point where it seems like the story could be seen as like bland to a lot of the fans out there. But for me personally, I've never really bought into the whole Akibi storyline. Again, you guys know me. I've been brought this up multiple times in the last podcast. I just think that Amado is a concerned dad, and the only thing that is a little bit, I guess, a little tiny bit fishy is that Akibi could genuinely come back as an Otsutsuki member, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee that she's going to be on bad timing or anything like that. I just think it'll just be like a regular person, not necessarily a regular person, but just an Otsutsuki member living on planet Earth.
I mean, realistically, throw that phrase out there if she come back Otsutsuki for no reason. Like I don't think they'll throw that out there.
But realistically, though,
to revisit it in the future. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask, realistically, do y'all even see JURA still being the big bad 10 chapters from now? Because at this point,
no,
I don't know. Because I remember chapter probably like 17. I thought I was like, yeah, this arc's probably gonna be over in like chapter 25. We're in chapter like 30.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew we were at least gonna get to like 30 with JURA though. But I'm saying like at this point now,
I would say
I gave it like 10 more chapters probably. For real.
Same. I don't know. I don't think he'll be around like this like end of next year. I would say November, December of next year we end off the Divine Tree arc, because it might be a kind of dragging on. Like we're in July right now, so we got 5 more chapters for the end of this year. Next year, provided Ikamoto doesn't do any breaks, that's 12 chapters. That's 17 chapters for the rest of this year and next year. I would say 10, 11 chapters, maybe even 12 is a healthy number. Because how much longer can we stay on JURA when we know he can't really be endgame villain?
Yeah. I'm thinking like more so, because I know Ikimoto loved to do the double-digit knockoff things. So I'm thinking chapter 44, we might either get them both out the picture, or at the very least, Hidari and JURA's on the verge. So, or it might just be JURA, and we might be getting Hidari's knocked out within the next 2 to 3 chapters, and then spend the remaining 5 to 6 to get rid of JURA.
Yeah, if Kodachi is penning it, so I'm predicting next 2 to 3 chapters that JURA and Hidari getting out the paint. But they do like to take their time, and there is good things and bad things about that, because we did compare the Akatsuki, and Akatsuki. It was good that they were fleshed out.
Yeah, and I think they should learn a lesson from the Kara organization.
Yeah, I really do like the Shinju, despite some people's complaints. I really think they were a great introduction to TBV.
100%, and I think that's one of my main reasons why I don't necessarily put that much faith in the Akibi thing. I think the story of Boruto was interesting without Akibi. Like, just the Shinju thing alone, I think we all understand that it shouldn't necessarily be the whole entire series of Boruto. We still gotta get into the Boruto and Kawaki battle. We still gotta get into, is Naruto gonna come back, and of course potentially Shibata Otsutsuki. I think those things are like way more like entertaining than like an Akibi storyline. Is my opinion.
But I mean, honestly, they can tie Kibi and she what's his name? Shibai. And the same.
I think at best we'll get that she came back in normal, but she has the body of an Otsutsuki now. So this gives us a third option of getting a divine tree. We know Boruto's not getting fed. We know Kawaki's probably not getting fed. So if you introduce a third Otsutsuki, one who's like relatively weak, one who has no real control of any powers, that adds a risk. Kawaki, for one, would say, hey, she's useless, let me kill her. Of course, Boruto, that would potentially force Amado to ally with Boruto, because he knows Boruto would never let Kawaki kill an innocent person. So I think that's that might be the issue with Akabi, because we've had inkling that she might come back as an Otsutsuki. It's just I don't think we should hear that right now. I think it would be better to keep the Akabi situation more vague until we get closer to the Jura situation, because right now it just feels weird for Koji to have a definitive answer, because that means more likely than not he's already seen a way to beat Jura. It just hasn't happened yet. I would rather it stay vague for a bit longer.
But he has. He said he sees there's ways to beat Jura, but there's still like few and far between. It was like only one way, and all those possibilities the world ended.
Yeah, he's seen ways to beat Jura, but I'll say this: I'll take the hype beast route because I want to start initially the hype train, and I'll get to your point, Ryzen. But I want to start the hype train for the coming of Akebi Otsutsuki, because she gonna be basically what Code should have been. Everybody was hyping Code before he was that guy. Everybody was like, once Code comes, Code looks crazy, and then we get Code, and he's losing everything he ever enters in, right? So once Akebi come, I want her to come and wreak havoc. So I do think, like, to disagree with your point, Baru, I think it can hold up to the weight of, like, in terms of anticipation when it comes. I'm not saying like at the same level necessarily, but in terms of anticipation when it comes to like the Boruto versus Kawaki, the Shiba Otsutsuki, or like the Momoshiki stuff. Like, I'm think at this point it's enough mystery shrouded around Akebi to where, like, I'm highly anticipating her coming into the story and actually being an antagonistic and possibly a villain force. And to Ryzen's point, I do agree, because it's not something that they should tackle right now. It's not something that they should have a definite answer for, like, right now going into the next chapter. If Koji and AMADO brings this up, I think it should still be shrouded in mystery. If anything, give us a little breadcrumbs. Like I said, the best or most they should, if they decide to give us, would be like, the futures that he's seen are not good. Let's just leave it at that, because we got to deal with Juro. We got to deal with Hidari. They've been hyping up the Hidari arc, so we're going to focus on that. And then we also got the Shikamaru and Kobu arc on the back burner. So he got a lot in his pocket, and he got some loaded in the gun right now. So it's not like we need to rush all of these points, but to get a breadcrumb is not really that crazy. And for, like, down the line, definitely like past Juro, someone like Akebi, yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to it.
But to your point, and kind of like extending this timeline, not necessarily, or I guess to Ryzen's point, not necessarily giving us too much or even giving us a breadcrumb. There's a possibility that Kashin Koji just deafens his senses because he knows what time AMADO's on and just leaves.
Yeah,
just reverse summons himself as soon as he wakes up.
And also, they have been throwing breadcrumbs, because even in the last chapter, they showed her sitting in the tank. So.
Yeah, I'm saying, bro, Akebi fans, stand up. We out here again.
I feel like
what?
I was gonna say, I feel like on the note of the, like, reverse something, I feel like we're gonna get a return.
Akebi in 5.
I feel like we're gonna get a return of Amado's chakra cuffs. Plus, we gotta remember the toads were Amado's creation, so I would guess he would shut everything down before he even wakes up Koji. So I feel like, on the sense of reverse summoning, it just might be a moot point, because I feel like,
but he wouldn't. AMADO himself, no, Kata, I'm bugging. Kashin Koji himself wouldn't have to reverse summon. It could be someone else that reverse summons him.
But I think that's still, like, it might be a gray area, because the way AMADO explained his toads to Kabuki, because remember, he was like, unlike Koji's, these are completely under my control. So, like, that could insinuate he created the toads for Koji, but he gave him complete autonomy and control over them as well. So, like, is a difference between, like, the white and dark toads, where, like, Koji has complete control over the dark toads, but AMADO, the newly created white toads, those are the ones that he can control.
But also, like, how hard would it be for him to just shut them down, or just make it so Koji can't get reverse summoned? I mean, like, at the end of the day, Koji is Amado's creation. The toads are Amado's creation. Amado doesn't want to lose Koji. So for as smart as Amado is, I don't think he would, like, make that type of mistake and say, oh shit, I forgot Koji can reverse summon himself, when that's literally Amado's trick implanted into Koji.
Nah, I don't think it's crazy for him to have, like, a device to where, like, the signal from a certain device deactivates all toads within the area. So I don't think he would have like control over Koji's toad, but contingency plans to stop and prevent them, yeah, it's within his bag.
Yeah, it's possible, but then again, you guys are appealing to the smartness or the intelligence of AMADO. I could do the same thing with Fukashi and Koji. You guys were questioning how come he didn't think that this could be a possibility. What if he did and he already set up contingency plans?
We gotta wait till we see.
Man, I'm
That's why I
glad you
really think
said
it's
that.
gonna be
I'm
crazy.
glad you said that because like a man that can see all futures, no matter what, he should have saw that future. He may have set up a contingency plan for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, possibly. But going back to the Kiwi thing, I just don't know why. I understand why it could be intriguing, but I wouldn't understand how she'd be, one, strong, and two, why she would turn heel or become a villain.
One, because it'll be cool, and then two, because it's like it's either a false gun or a Chekhov's gun. And if it's gonna be if this is gonna be a false gun, you're gonna plant the seed. Oh, she comes back as Otsutsuki. There might be antagonistic forces between her and the Kawaki when she revives. You plant that. If you're not gonna follow through with that, something else has to overcome that so much to the point where it's like we are satisfied, or we look at it and like, damn, that makes sense. Even if we wanted her to come
Or
back as Otsutsuki.
I have one.
Or he could have planted her and planted Shibai cells in her as well. Everybody.
But then that's not a
past
guarantee that she'd accept the Shibai cells. It's like an experiment at that point.
I'm saying as far as why she would even come back with the type of personality that I'm insinuating for. When it comes to strength, like there could be a number of bro. It's Kawaki's karma, and we know. Like I make fun of Kawaki, yeah, all the time, but like if he really act right and get in his bag, he's top. He's one of the top strongest in the verse. So at the end of the day, she's coming from that. So we could say whatever mumbo jumbo.
In my opinion, I feel like at best we just get normal Akabi as an Otsutsuki because like we've learned a few things about the karma. I mean, in that 600 guidebook, we know that the stronger the Otsutsuki is, the slower the karma extracts. Kawaki, it's not this page. I can pull it up. I gotta find it again. But Kawaki and Boruto were just outliers. They resonated, which caused their karmas to speed up. But we know the stronger the Otsutsuki, the slower the karma extraction. So if she's just going through vanilla extraction, if she's this super strong being that's Jura level plus, it would take a long time for her to extract. If she's just a normal person who just gets the body of an Otsutsuki, then we can argue why her karma would extract that fast. So I think there's a play for her to just be a normal person just with the body of an Otsutsuki, which just makes her easy potential prey to get that chocolate fruit in the future.
I mean, in a way, though, I still wouldn't necessarily say that she'd necessarily be like crazy strong, even if she does get like, let's say, a Kawaki karma seal. If you pick it up, throwing down, the first time that Boruto and Kawaki got their karma seals, they weren't necessarily crazy strong. They weren't strong for like a couple years. Like I'd even argue end of series Boruto wasn't even that strong.
Big Akebi though. We talking about big Akebi with the eye at the end, bro. Like, come on.
We also got to remember that provided she resurrects, right, she won't even have a karma anymore.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, that was another thing I was about to ask. How do we know she'll actually have a karma?
That's why I think she'll just be like a normal person with just the DNA of an Otsutsuki now. Like she's a weakling, which makes her prey.
But think about this. But how disingenuous is that? Because right, if we go with the thought, right, AMADO is building all of these deltas with the intention of bringing his daughter back. We see how strong this bitch is, right? So it's like if he wanted every one of these bodies to potentially be his daughter at one point, what's to say the Akebi clone that's floating around in that pod right now don't got rocket boosters on 10 million kazillion
or even
right now, just loading up in her legs?
But
do we think besides that, then like I would also assume that the vessel has to be strong enough to accept the karma cell as well.
Mm-hmm.
But say she is strong, right? And say she comes back as normal Akabi, just with Amado's enhancements, and she's not getting any extra power from like an Otsutsuki personality or an Otsutsuki mess up. How strong do we think Amado could make a potential Delta? Like, do we think she'd be relative to Delta, just with added Otsutsuki DNA, or do we think he's gonna like do something crazy?
I wouldn't
I think he's
ask him to do
accidentally going to
anything
do
crazy.
something crazy.
Because if
I
we're
wouldn't-
I think
using,
he's accidentally going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it purposely.
because if we're talking about genetic altering and like his ninja tech, if we use Delta as a base, relatively she's not that strong compared to like a Boruto, a Damon, a Kawaki. So I feel like if we're going the route where she resurrects as Akabi just strong because of Amado stuff, I wonder how he could power her up realistically.
It depends because we got to think about what
where-
was on that flash drive when he defected to the Hidden Leaf. Because when Koji was like, "That's all you're taking," he was like, "Most of the data I need is on this drive." And we saw he went with nothing, and then boom, he got two Delta bodies. One is ready to be revived by a Karma, but Kawaki's too stubborn. So I don't know what was on the data that he brought back from the Kara organization.
I mean, I guess she could always luck off on the Shibai lottery. I mean, we saw Damon
saying, like,
we saw Damon pull an SSR.
That's
speaking
what I'm
of
saying.
Damon,
Like, what access does Amado have to Shibai cells? Like, he didn't give Jigen one. He gave everybody else one, like part of the Shibai cells. So
That's the mystery.
exactly.
but
So
I
like,
don't know.
we don't even know. We don't even know how many abilities he has. I mean, is there a data book or anything like that that actually like explain everything?
As far as like Shibai or Amado, you're talking about abilities.
Shibai.
Nah, it's not
I heard
fully
he was like
explained.
able to shake mountains and shit like that. And
Well, he said he has like a lot of abilities, but the ones that we know is like, yeah, just the stuff that like his voice can like shake the mountains, and he could wave his hands and cause tornadoes, and that all of the shinjutsu that we know these characters.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I understand the questions and everything like that, and the willingness for her to be good. But I go back to what my guy Black Uchiha said. He said if it's not necessarily her being evil, it has to be something meaningful and something that's like that makes sense. I think the perfect way, even if she, let's say she comes back as an Otsutsuki, I think the perfect way for her to make an impact is to actually change Kawaki's mind on Otsutsuki members. I think first and first, Kawaki being the person to revive her. I think Kawaki being the person to revive her, wants to kill her, and then having a change of heart. I think that is probably going to be crucial, or could be crucial, to Kawaki's character development, and of course, him dropping the overall plan of killing all Otsutsuki members.
You know what I really am banking on though, because I really do like that you brought up that idea. But regardless of when she comes back, like I want it to be at the very least Akebi's and Amado's story movie. Like at that point, remember when we got introduced to Kawaki and he damn near drove the story for like 20, 30 chapters until we started shifting the focus back onto Boruto. So if it goes to a point where like Akebi, like she has to come back as Otsutsuki. So whether she's evil or not, it does have to be played out well. But if she's gonna become that catalyst for Kawaki to spark his path to eventually change his mind, I think that can work. And like we already said, inevitably there's going to be another chakra fruit in this story. So we're going to need the Otsutsuki to make that sacrifice. So if we get introduced to Akebi like in a dramatic way, we see her rough start, and then we get used to the character. She builds a solid fan base, and then eventually she decides to sacrifice herself, and she becomes that one that gets sacrificed. That's how we get the chakra fruit. And then it's like a Game of Thrones. It's up for grabs. Who's going to get the fruit? Jura, Code, Kawaki, Boruto, Amado.
Yeah.
So at that point, like, yeah.
How do we think? I was gonna say, how do we think Kawaki's reaction would be if Akabi ends up being his mom?
Being what?
Me and him had the same reaction. We
Why?
like, what the fuck?
Instead of a brother killer, he's a mother killer now.
Boy, if Akebi ends up being what?
His mom.
His mom.
Oh, his mom. Oh, damn.
Oh shit.
No, she was like 19 though, right?
She was 24.
She was 24 when she died.
That will make Amado his grandpa.
So the timeline fits because Naruto and Hinata had Boruto at 21. So she was 24 when she died. That was when Boruto was born. And if we estimate Kaoki to be 2 years older,
If that's the case, I would hate like Kawaki. Like that's even more because remember I said last part he should hate Amato. Like that's even more justification. Because in this case, your daughter died. Instead of honoring her legacy, like her
you
grandchild.
left me with Kokatsu.
Yeah, you like no man, fuck all that, fuck the grandchild. You know what I'm saying? I want my daughter back. Like what? Come on, man. It'll be even crazy.
Hey, you know what? You know what? As the resident Kawaki hater, I can't fully blame Amado.
That's wild.
I got the perfect panel for that too. So last week I didn't get to show this, but they had a panel on mothers from Boruto. So we have a mother's love, and we have like the comparison with Sakura and Sarada. Right. And then for Boruto, they bring up Kushina and Hinata, and supporting their sons from the shadow. And as the resident Kawaki hater, Kawaki ain't got a mom on his side. I'm sorry, but like Hinata's not supporting Kawaki; she's supporting Boruto.
Hey man, Naruto called him his son. Hinata never uttered those words.
Yeah, exactly. And even if that was the case, like we joke, but he is part of the family. But at the end of the day, Hinata, regardless of if he's your son or not, wouldn't support his actions. So my statement is
he's Kawaki Snow. He's part of the family, but he go by Kawaki Snow. Y'all watch Game of Thrones. When the father has a bastard child, they don't take the family name; they take the land name. He goes by Snow. He don't go by Uzumaki. Kawaki Tree. Something.
But it's funny. That there's a reason why Kawaki can't have this panel. I mean, he has no mom on his side. I'm sorry, but it's true.
That's wild.
They never gave him a last name either. Like it's just Kawaki. Kawaki Osushi. Never had a last name before that.
But to switch the convo slightly to Kawaki, because you brought up that point, Ryzen, he was like, because I thought Damon is stronger than Kawaki, so how does Damon stack up against Ishiki and stuff like that? Look, man,
I don't know if he still is.
Now that we got Kawaki confirmed to where, like, at the very least, Amado can put him at 100% of his power either way. If we see him decide to talk crazy to Damon, that might be a little bit of an insinuation. But for right now, like, I don't think it's even a consideration.
It's because the gap either has to be non-existent between Kawaki and Ishiki, or it's very, very small. And it's implied that Damon's still breaking Kawaki's back. Pause. So, it's becoming a situation to how much stronger is Damon compared to Ishiki?
I don't know. My thing with
gap's
Ishiki
getting smaller and smaller. Not gonna
my
lie.
thing with Ishiki is Ishiki wasn't just straight physical abilities. Like, he wasn't just speed and strength. Like, if he fights against Damon or if he fights against Kawaki, he's gonna have significantly more battle experience than both of them. He could probably
100%.
Did he bring up he's stronger than Jigen, or did he bring up he's stronger than Ishiki though?
He brought up he was stronger than Jigen, but he also didn't care. He also didn't care that Kawaki had most of Ishiki's abilities.
I was about to say, I sent the panels where Amado was like,
it said like most so, but he didn't have all of it. He was like
Amado
Amado had him really low.
Nah, but Amado was explaining, right? At the point when he first revived this karma, all that happened on the battlefield with Cole, and everybody was like, yo, it's crazy, right? Amado like, yo, bro, this guy Kawaki, he got Ishiki, he regained Ishiki's power, and he's going to keep on growing stronger. No one in the village can stop him. Yada, 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 this, that, and the third, this, that. Damon looking. Once he finally got a chance to talk, he was literally, the first thing he said was like, I could beat the crap out of Kawaki, so it don't matter.
We also got to remember.
Do you think that he had 100% power at that point, though?
Not at that point, but he's referring to the growing concern, because that's the point of the conversation with Amado. He's like, Kawaki's going to keep growing stronger. And then Ada was like, maybe we could kill you right now. And like Damon said, she backed it up. He can keep Kawaki's power in check. On top of that, we can use the village to rely on us instead of you. That was Ada's initial plan. So it was like, it wasn't even a concern about Kawaki or how much stronger he's going to get. at that point in time. So they were even taking in what they can do right now, and if he was even gonna get stronger.
We also got to remember that, yeah, sure, Ishiki has his battle experience, but as much as I clown on Kawaki, we know that he can utilize the karma effectively right now. So he will overlay Ishiki's battle experience onto himself, in addition to just the cybernetics, in addition to just the karma, something that Ishiki does not have in his normal state. So it kind of equalizes. Sure, Kawaki doesn't have a Byakugan, but Kawaki also has the karma, which Ishiki doesn't have. So like that gap has to be pretty close at this point. Like I don't see Ishiki being exponentially stronger still compared to Kawaki.
Man,
Yeah,
I feel like that moment's passed. Either Ishiki's just a step above Kawaki, or they're just in the same tier. I don't see Ishiki being so out there. I mean, we could argue that he didn't have his full lifespan, but like I feel like I don't know. I don't think we can like say, oh, he's twice as strong as Kawaki anymore, or like 10 times as strong as Kawaki.
Yeah,
I feel like
I wouldn't.
It has to be closer than that. Either he can keep up, he's a step ahead, a step behind. It doesn't seem like they're in like another crazy tier out there.
Look, I know my guy Mello is famous for taking this stance, but I'm like, I can't help but also scratch my head when we talk about like the Otsutsuki experience, because it's like
they lost to 30-year-olds.
How much experience could that be? What did they do? And we've seen Ishiki fight. We've seen him fight literally in two bodies and two forms, and we've seen what he came, like how he approaches a battle, his tactical, like in terms of like anything crazy. It's more so like, oh, this is happening to a battle, I'm gonna do this. Like he was fighting Naruto and Sasuke as Jigen. He's like, damn, they strong together. I'm gonna separate them. He revived this Ishiki. He started out the fight. He was like, I'm not even gonna let y'all fight together. He separated them at the start of the fight because he knew that was the best way to approach this fight. So like that's the most difference. Other than that, like he's doing like the crazy stuff with the chakra rods, the cubes. Like the only different thing I've seen him do is, thankfully, because of the anime, when he had the ball spike and he sent that whole entire barrage of chakra rods throughout the entire field. But like we saw Kawaki's first fight. That nigga looked like he had experienced in the field, like for real, when he was fighting Garo. He's jumping around the rubble. And like honestly, as much as I bash on Kawaki, when he's locked in, like the boy is creative in battle. So it's like, even if we say something like, oh, matching them up, Ishiki's experience will get there better. I'm like, Kawaki might do some real crazy off the wall shit that have Ishiki eyes going to the back of his horn, because he's like, yo, what's going on? That's like how unpredictable he is while he's fighting. So I don't really
like don't even forget. I mean, Code, as much as we clown on him, is a step above Jigen, and Boruto in base is able to like cloud on Code in an instant. Like Code has no way of even being a stopgap to Boruto, and Kawaki right now is exponentially stronger than that base Boruto. So how much could that gap even be? I feel like it might be a wrap for Ishiki, and if that's the case, how much stronger has Damon been all this time? If it's implied he can still cloud on Kawaki at this point.
I'll say my stance on that. No, you could go ahead, Bar. You could go ahead.
One of the things I would say that I do want to caution us, because we've seen Ishiki full power, because I understand that he wasn't necessarily quote unquote nerfed in that battle, but he wasn't really all there. Like he couldn't necessarily do everything that he wanted to do because he had a chakra restriction and a time restriction. So it wasn't necessarily like full on Ishiki Otsutsuki at that particular.
How do we know he had a chakra restriction?
Because if he used like a crazy amount of chakra in one sitting, his time would go down. We knew that. It did go down because he fought Sasuke and Naruto. It went down. It was supposed to be like a day. It ended up being like
it was 3 days. It was 3 days, I think. And then the KOJI fight shortened his time a tiny bit. And then by the time Naruto went into Baryon mode, he had 20 hours left. Yeah, I think that was it. 20 hours. That whole fight that whole day knocked them from 3 days to 20 hours.
So are we insinuating that like the 20 hours is equivalent to his strength, or the 20 hours is basically how much time he has left to use his full strength?
If it would have dragged out like Kaguya and Naruto and Sasuke, then they would have been in a world of trouble. It would
That's
end
the
up
if he
losing.
came back like
it's
Kaguya, yeah, it'd have been
because
different.
my thing is right at every point in the fight, Ishiki showed when he had the opportunity to, regardless of what happened, he took the upper hand. So it wasn't like he was getting weaker. His life was just shortening.
Yeah, so
Because
like he can
soon as
still.
Baryon started staggering, he immediately gained the upper hand. It wasn't like, oh, he's weaker now, we can handle. No, they could never handle him until he literally fizzled out of existence. So I don't understand. Like he was never at full. He was at full
Yeah,
power though.
he could still output his full power.
That's
It's
what I'm
just
saying.
it's just the more he fought, the less his lifespan was decreasing. The more his lifespan was
Yeah.
decreasing, but he was always
Exactly.
fighting at full power. He wasn't like,
But-
this is only 10% of my power. It was always full power. It's just that full power was also killing him at the same time.
Exactly, and he always had to be cognizant of everything that he did. He couldn't necessarily output like a crazy amount of jutsu in like at the beginning because he understand he didn't have that much time. If he was, let's say, if he came back like Kaguya, he'd be throwing like haymakers like consistently, but he just couldn't do that when he came back.
To be honest, I feel like in his bag, I don't think he has too much in his bag because if he did have like a crazy amount of jutsu, he would have either used it as Jigen, and we could argue Jigen might not be able to handle it. But we also have Kawaki, who should have most, if not all, of his abilities except for the Byakugan, and he's still only spamming what Ishiki's been able to spam.
Man, Jigen had a colder bag than Ishiki. When he was Jigen, I know he was limiting himself. Like I feel like him personally limiting himself, he had a colder bag because he was doing.
I mean, for example, we know Boruto has all of Momoshiki's abilities from the guidebook. Not to mention, Momoshiki said, yo, use whatever you want. I don't care anymore. It's just Boruto's not using them. But on Kawaki's side of things, he should have all of Ishiki's abilities, minus the Byakugan.
But does he know it? But does he know? First, let's say hypothetically, Ishiki has a jutsu that Kawaki doesn't even know about. I don't even know if he knows how to reach that. He doesn't have the battle experience.
See, the problem is, it feels like he should.
What
because
jutsu would that even do, though? He doesn't have no. I don't think he had no secret.
But see,
I don't think he has no secret jutsu.
Because here's the issue. He knows Suka Hikona instantaneously. Boruto, same thing. Byakugan, he can use that as a master because of having that experience. He doesn't have to train the Byakugan because he already has that training. Unlike someone like Naruto, with the second he turned on the Byakugan in his novel, he was going nearly insane from that sensory overload. So if he's able to access Ishiki's battle experience and battle knowledge from the karma, and it's a whole coalescence of Ishiki himself, he should be able to unconsciously use other abilities if Ishiki has it. It just feels like Ishiki just didn't have that much of a bag, honestly.
Because I believe that entire statement is simply the equivalent to like, oh, you gain their battle experience. It's just basically you instinctively know how to do all of their abilities. You don't need to learn. It just comes to
not
you.
even that. It goes down to even the basics when it comes to like changing chakra nature and changing chakra form. We seen when Momoshiki came out, he just instantaneously knew how to do the Rasengan because he automatically understood all that chakra information that Boruto himself just doesn't understand. Similar with Ishiki Otsuki. To be honest, I'd even.
But he understood that to simply do Boruto's ability, though.
Yeah, I understand, but hypothetically, let's say
when he wins essence.
Let's say Boruto sees something that Momoshiki does, but he doesn't know how to do that jutsu. When he's just in a regular karma, I don't think that Boruto could do it again.
I mean, to be fair, when he did gain mastery of the karma temporarily from this deal, he was able to use the giant Rasengan, something previously that only Momoshiki was ever able to do in Boruto's body. He's also able to use the Byakugan as a master. That's 2 down already.
We're talking about now. I'm talking about.
Okay, I'll be honest. I'll be honest, Bara. Because like even going as far as like to all of Momoshiki's abilities, like the Firebird, and then if we go into the novels, he has Ice Release, right? All right. So if we go to say Boruto will instinctively even know how to do all of that, like anything Momoshiki did, it showcases a natural understanding of the basics that basically they teach you in Ninja Academy and what you can or can't do, basically what's possible and not possible in terms of like.
But it's a different level. It's a different level of mastery.
That's what I'm saying. That's literally it. Just the understanding. So when you say Momoshiki revives and he naturally knows how to do the Rasengan, he just needed to remember the name. That's That's the experience. So when Boruto comes, he naturally understands, okay, boom, I can use the Byakugan like so. I can absorb chakra like so, or do this, that, and the third. As
But
far as right now,
that's
the
kind
only
of
thing
simple.
Momoshiki did, as far as well, I'm saying, as far as right now, the only thing Momoshiki's did was use the entire black orb to have all of the jutsu that he stole and fire them all back at once. Like we haven't seen Boruto fire back jutsu at people. So
Yeah,
like
that's
there's
something that
that.
Boruto just doesn't know how to do. Again, it's similar with Kwaki.
But
Perfect
it
example.
also wouldn't it feel like wouldn't it make more sense that Boruto just hasn't showcased it? Because the only real time he's had the karma full mastery is now. The only other time he's been able to use true essence karma is during the Code fight. He's never been able to fully tap into the karma's abilities, and even Code clowned on him like that. Like, yeah, you're not doing the karma right. You're not getting the battle experience. So he's only had it twice. The first time was during the Code fight. The first time was during the Code fight, which, you know, Code's not spamming any ninjutsu that he can really absorb and output back out at him. When he fought Kawaki, he wasn't in true essence karma. He was in the base karma state.
I don't think he was in true essence against Code, unless you talk about when Momoshiki took over and it was Borishiki, and he didn't fight Code that time.
I mean, we gotta remember they did notice it was differently. They did say he was tapping. But they did say he was tapping into Momoshiki's abilities properly now. So the fact that we saw
I don't
the
know
Byakugan,
if that's true essence.
They said he was moving different as well too. He was
moving different and true essence is two different things though.
But what would we call it then? Because he did have the Byakugan at that point in time.
I'd call it the second stage. You know, people have a different names. People call it the V3. Some people call it second. I call it second stage. Kawaki had that horn form as well. Once he seen Jigen pull up to Naruto's living room, he had the horn form. I don't think Kawaki at that moment was tapping into true essence.
I mean, let's check.
There's a different form of the karma
because he didn't have the dojutsu, so that's true.
But we can.
I mean, on this point, I kind of do agree with Bara, so.
But we can go back to the karma, to the karma arc, chapter 63. Code says, do you know why you get drastically stronger when you activate karma? Increased power and speed from improved physical ability is certainly a major factor, but that alone wouldn't result in such an exponential jump in battle strength. The real reason lies elsewhere with karma's true essence. Karma's true essence, which is that the Otsutsuki's combat experience accumulated over millennia gets overlaid upon your own mind and body. That's why you get stronger. In short, you instantly become a seasoned warrior. If you're able to draw on karma properly, that is. He kicks Boruto. Now show it to me. I know you've got more than that. Show me Otsutsuki Momoshiki's power. Kawaki says Boruto. Then we see Boruto explode with power. There we go. Now we're talking. We even see the marking, the V2, the horn form marking in this V1 state. Something that even time skip Boruto doesn't have yet. He only has the base karma tattoo with the Byakugan. So we have this, chapter 64. Nice, there we are. And then they think it's Momoshiki. You bastard, how dare you come out again? Uzumaki Boruto, you're quite a puzzle. Momoshiki's consciousness, why does it emerge to this degree when you're still only a vessel? We find out it's still Boruto. Move back more, Kawaki, it ain't safe. Could it be? We'll go down a bit. We have the fight. He's such an annoying ability. What power? Much more than usual. I don't get it though. It's still Boruto's in control when he managed to talk to me, Ada. I wonder if it's an effect of Amado's meds. I can't tell exactly what's going on inside Boruto's body. At the very least, it seems he's now able to channel Momoshiki's power without his mind getting taken over. So just after Code explained the true essence of karma and being able to properly draw upon an Otsutsuki's power, we get a situation where Boruto awakens the karma, is much stronger than usual, and the enemy is seemingly confirming he's able to draw upon Momoshiki's power almost exactly like how Code explained it. And I wouldn't write him off. It wouldn't be funny if you were to go down before you regain your true strength. So it seems like that in this point in time, for the most part, he is in that true essence form. He is drawing upon Momoshiki's battle strength.
I gotta disagree. And again, I understand how it seems. It does seem like, hey, chronological. They talked about, hey, true essence, and of course, Boruto turns to a new form. It must be true essence. I gotta disagree heavily. We've been seeing the second form of the karma seal way before this. And we were wondering when Boruto was going to be able to actually utilize it in battle. This is the first time he was actually able to utilize it in battle. also during this particular battle, he didn't necessarily do anything different than what he usually does. So true essence, in my personal opinion, let's say if it is true essence, it's not going to change how they fight. That in my personal opinion, that doesn't make too much sense. But more importantly, Code himself doesn't really know how true essence looks. Like Code doesn't have any sort of true essence of a Karma Seal.
But see,
it's not necessarily like he's comparing it to something. And he didn't have, and furthermore, he didn't even say Boruto was tapping into true essence. He was just saying it's more like it.
But see, here's the thing: we see the disclaimer between Kawaki, because he's seen Boruto's normal karma form compared to this, and they talk about you're using Momoshiki's power. Kawaki even says that this isn't reliable. Like, this power up you're getting isn't reliable because we don't know why this even happened. Why are you tapping into Momoshiki's power, Momoshiki's powers? And he even says, like, where did Momoshiki go? You're fighting like Momoshiki. And he says, which, like, I don't know whether it's an effect of the meds or not. It's never happened before, which means it's unreliable. You better not suddenly lose control. So it feels like it wouldn't make sense for us to talk about true essence, get a new Boruto form, and then it still not be true essence when they're saying that, yeah, he's tapping into Momoshiki's powers.
But these aren't different dialogues from what they had before we even seen these forms. Kawaki said, I hate using this power. It's not my power. Boruto is saying, yeah, I don't like to use Momoshiki's power. These are conversations and dialogues that they've had before. This doesn't necessarily signal true essence.
I mean, they say this is different. Like, we have Boruto verbatim saying this isn't anything I've ever used before. This is something
because it's the second version. It is the second version of the karma. I agree. This is different.
Even then, we've had Boruto access the horn form, and he's been semi-conscious. He realized that Momoshiki's been in control.
Ripped it off and everything.
But he makes it seem like that this isn't even that. This is not the horn, but it's not V1. It's something brand new to Boruto. So it feels like it just has to be that, because if it's not, then what would you call this situation where this karma form is at a potentially even higher level of the karma form he used in TBV, because he has the extended tattoo mark. So this is a whole other form compared to the form Boruto even used the Byakugan with.
The second form, I agree.
So it's right here. This is a different form, but like, if it's not true essence, then what is true essence at that point? Because we have this form.
Something completely different, something beyond that.
But I don't know. It just feels like if he's using Momoshiki's powers, if he's tapping into greater power, if he's fighting at a higher level, then wouldn't we call it true essence? If he's drawing on Momoshiki's power level, if he's not fighting like the bumbling Boruto that we had pre this fight, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It just feels like if he's tapping into it, if we had the whole data dump in the chapter, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I
think y'all in the middle, because I believe that true essence is V2, because that's basically V2 is basically when we expect them to grow the horn and do that all extra stage, and that's what we've seen from Boruto. But I get Bara's case because it's still a step down from what every time we've seen Momoshiki activate and when he has the entire horn pop up and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
When Momoshiki pops up and he actually takes control over Boruto's body, I expect that to be what true essence is. And to be honest, I might even say true essence should be above that, because it's Boruto controlling his own body with the mind of Momoshiki. It's completely different. Once we've seen Momoshiki pop out against Boro, once we see Momoshiki pop out against Sasuke, that's like a different form. Even though those pretty much didn't have any chakra, this Boruto did have chakra, and I still believe the Momoshiki controlled Boruto. Those were significantly stronger than this.
I can see it. I just feel like if he's starting to channel Momoshiki's power, it kind of fits what Code said. Like, oh yeah, you're overlaying Momoshiki's experience onto yourself. It just feels.
But even look at what's happening on the screen currently. These are completely different juices that Boruto never used, because Momoshiki is controlling Boruto. The Rasengan, the Rasengan bullet. Boruto, even in the true essence form, wouldn't do that. Or what you think is the true essence form when he fought against Code, you flat wouldn't do that.
But we also gotta remember though,
it would be like Boruto with an overlay of Momoshiki.
But we also got to remember, the Rasengan wasn't something that Momoshiki ever had until after he took over Boruto again. So we can even argue that wasn't part of Boruto's repository until this moment.
He took the compression Rasengan and just shot it as a bullet.
Yeah.
It's still the compression Rasengan.
But even take a look at TBV. 3 years later, he's now using this giant Rasengan, something he couldn't do at all back in the old days. So even with the Rasengan, we could just argue, okay, when he did tap into that form, Momoshiki never used Rasengan. He can't really do anything he hasn't learned.
But now we gotta take into account Kashin Koji's training. Like he pretty much took all of his original abilities and just times 10 them. Like,
but we also gotta remember the only time he's ever used the giant Rasengan is during Karma. We've never seen him use the massive Rasengan in any other situation. So the only real precedent we have is Boruto in Karma is using the massive Rasengan, something similar to what Momoshiki was using, maybe at a smaller scale, but it's still something Boruto has never used in base.
But even if that's the case, we're not necessarily saying that this version of the Karma Seal's true essence is still Boruto's power that he's using himself.
But we know that it's not. It is like the Karma is of course Boruto's power. Of course, I'm with you 100%.
No, but past I'm talking about the Rasengan. Once he utilized the Rasengan, not necessarily saying that, of course, the Karma Seal couldn't necessarily have any influence at all. But we know for a fact that that's not the true essence of the Karma Seal. He doesn't have the battle experience of Momoshiki, so he's doing that himself.
But we also know that he's never used the massive Rasengan. That's the issue. Even if we go back in the anime, Kakashi even tells him, someone like you can't use the massive Rasengan at all, or the giant Rasengan. So
that was when he's a baby.
But here's the thing, though. I would agree with you.
Goon Boruto.
But here's the thing, though. I would agree with you 100% if we saw Boruto ever use it in base. This is a whole different issue where Boruto is specifically using it. The only time he's ever used it is during the Karma. Is when he has the Karma active.
But that doesn't tell me that's true
essence.
That's
the disconnect. We also have the Byakugan. We also have Momoshiki even telling him, you know what? Take my bag. Use my bag. I don't care anymore. Destroy our enemies. As long as I get my paycheck, i.e. your body, pause.
I don't think he went full power Karma mode against Mamushi though. Like
100%. But we also know that he is tapping into powers that he normally wouldn't be able to tap into. That's the difference.
Well, currently it's a little bit different. I guess you could say that because right now Momoshiki did give him the green light. But overall, from what we've seen in TBV, that's not necessarily telling me that he's in true essence. It's just saying, yeah, he had a crazy training session with Kashin Koji.
I mean, would you call Kawaki in true essence? Because he does have unconscious. Like the second he activated that Karma, he gained immediate mastery over all of Ishiki's abilities.
This version right here, I wouldn't. I just say he gained more of his abilities for sure. But
the question
this is the first time that he actually. But then again, this is the first time he got the enhanced Karma Seal from AMADO.
But the question is,
I think there's different things that goes into that.
But the
question you don't think that's true essence? That's literally
this right here. I just don't.
But the question is, what's
I don't think he got the battle experience of Ishiki right here.
Bara, for example, if it's not true essence, right, and if Ishiki's experience and knowledge isn't being overlaid onto Kawaki as a fighter, what's giving him this unconscious mastery of using the Kokugan, using Sukuna Hikona?
You see some statements do so much damage to the story, bro. Like that whole entire Otsutsuki experience. I'm telling y'all, bro. Look,
we understand that dojutsus sometimes give you powers that you didn't necessarily learn prior. Like so, it's not necessarily anything crazy to see him just do this out of the blue. Same thing with Boruto utilizing the Jogan back in the day. Like,
so just join the wave. Join the wave, Bara. The Otsutsuki aren't doing anything that crazy for them to draw on that for experience, bro. It's
here's the issue.
It's not. I'm not necessarily saying that the hacks aren't the reason why the Otsutsukis are the way they are. It's different. They have different level of masteries of the basics.
But see, here's the issue. Even Jigen, Ishiki using Jigen didn't have a Kokugan. He's still able to use Suke Hikona, Daikokuten, regardless of not having the dojutsu. So I feel like if this man is spamming all of Ishiki's abilities relatively well while in Karma, it kind of implies that he's getting some knowledge buff in his bag. I mean, also the Byakugan. For example, we know the Byakugan isn't like the Sharingan. You have to master the Byakugan, or else you're not going to be able to use it relatively well. We could argue Boruto did get training in preparation to potentially awaken the Byakugan, but that's just the fighting style. This man is going as a seasoned fighter with the Byakugan, able to instantaneously acclimate to the perception of the Byakugan. It feels like they are gaining some type of information. And if they are gaining any info, okay, how about this? Let me rephrase my question. Kawaki at this moment, do you think he's getting any intelligence buff with the karma in the sense of Ishiki's fighting style or Shinjutsu abilities or dojutsu? Do you think he's getting any?
Yes, but we already knew that. That's been the case. They've been getting like trickles from they first got the karma. The question is, do they have all the experience of their Otsutskis? I don't think so.
But then what would we call it though? Because we know for a fact that before this chapter, before this arc, Code tells them, yeah, you're not using the karma right. You're just getting that standard buff. You're not getting any intelligence boost. You're not fighting differently. All you're really getting is the slight amp the karma gives you, plus the defense mechanism of being able to absorb chakra. The second they go into these forms, horn form for Kawaki respectively, and the eye form for Boruto, he notices that change. He makes the connections. I feel like this is as close to true essence as you're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna get much of anything after these horned forms.
If it is, I mean, I'm not necessarily going to say you're flat out wrong, but I'd say if it is, I'd be disappointed.
I mean, that's fair.
Because I've always thought the true, let's say, pre-part 2, part 1 Boruto, true essence part 1 Boruto, I believe he should have been stronger than Borishiki. Flat out. And he's just not. There's no reason why true essence Boruto wouldn't be stronger than Borishiki.
I mean, see, here's my issue with it. We have Boruto in this form right now, right? TBV, he has decent access to the karma, right? So we have Boruto with the Byakugan, but with the base tattoo, right? We can agree on that.
Yeah.
This is the base tattoo mark. So that means he has 2 more forms to cycle through. So once he's done with this form, he still has to go into the form where he gets the little tattoo mark that goes to the side of his face. And then after that, it's the full Otsutsuki horn form. So that's 2 forms he doesn't even have yet. So if he's going to get all that and potentially the Jogan, would we really convolute it by creating a true essence form and calling these not true essence forms and then having a third new form now in addition to the Jogan, in addition to everything else? That's the question, because we're not even at the peak of what Boruto's doing with the karma. He hasn't even recreated the form that he used to fight against Code. Because we can argue this is a weaker form than the one he used against Code. It's just stronger because Boruto himself has gotten stronger.
Yeah.
So this is a lesser form than even that. And that wasn't even Karma's full power because we're still missing V2, the horn form. So how many forms are we going to cycle through at that point?
Like I said, for me, I believe V2 and True Essence, same thing. So there's that.
It could be, but if that's the case, I think it was underwhelming.
Because it feels like this is the peak of Kawaki's transformation. Because we haven't seen this horn form ever come back. So
at that point it was.
If we get to all the way, even though
that's Kawaki's True Essence form.
Because we even know in the time skip, we even know that in the time skip, they're not even in their full karma forms. They're just in the base, whacked out, janky karma with no experience at all. We can argue, that everything wasn't planned out yet.
They weren't trying to. I don't think they were trying to spoil us, to be honest.
100%, I agree too. But even then, if we look at this, they're just in the base karma form. So if we're adding on forms when they haven't even fully mastered the forms we've seen, it just feels like it makes more sense that those are the true essence form than some secret transformation we haven't even seen yet.
I don't think it's secret. I think they described it. They told us what it was. And I understand. Let's say hypothetically that is a true essence form. Boruto just transforms into a different karma steel pattern. and then I guess he fights a little bit more like Momoshiki. I mean, I wouldn't at this particular point, simply because Boruto got significantly stronger, I wouldn't necessarily mind it, but I'd mind it in the fact that I know that the multiplier isn't what I thought it should be. The multiplier should be way more for a base Boruto.
I mean, it's like at that point we're talking about like the 12-year-old Boruto who's still trying to control the power. So I get what you mean, but it can still be true essence. It's just that he's not as strong. He's not as good as controlling it or like fully mastering it, right?
But I can't let you get that, because if that's
But
the whole
that's what I'm.
idea is that he knows everything that
That,
Momoshiki knows.
that's
He
what I was
knows all
about
the
to
battle
say.
experience.
That's what I was about to say. That entire like that thing does damage because I say it equates to it in terms of like them instinctively knowing what's presented to them. Like they don't have to learn to use these abilities. And once they grow stronger and unlock new abilities, it's like, okay, that ability comes to them instinctively. So even with Kawaki's case, like when he first re-unlocked his karma, he gained the horn and then he gained the dojutsu. He was dropping cubes like he was dropping cubes all his life. He ain't never dropped cubes a day in his life until that second. So when we go up into TBV and we see Kawaki even up until the point where the Jura fight, or even we can say the Mamushi fight where we know he's operating at 85, right? The only thing we're missing is literally visibly just the horn for Kawaki at this point, because we've seen him use the cubes and the chakra rods in the Jura fight, and the chakra rods and his bow staff was his go-to in the Mamushi fight, mainly the bow staff. So it's not like he hasn't been doing anything that we haven't seen from Ishiki. It's just that we don't see the horn. I think it's like a two thing. It's like more so like, are they even still rocking with the horn state, because that equates to essentially the quote unquote second stage for these characters? Are they even still rocking with the horn state, like that
Yeah,
equivalent in TBV, or is it
I believe
I
simply
so.
don't
Yeah,
more?
think so.
Or is
I
it
believe so.
simply
But
more so we just follow the patterns? Because when it comes to like when we simply break it down, it's two patterns. So the only difference for Boruto is literally that he didn't gain the horn when he fought Cold, because the patterns just stretched out and it matched Momoshiki's horn when he revived in Boruto's body in that same exact fight. So that second stage for Boruto, that's his true essence, but
so,
he probably didn't fully tap into it. And we know we have to take into account Amado was giving him meds. So as far as like whatever mumbo jumbo that did, we don't know, because even we saw Momoshiki mention like that damn medication that Amato doing, it wasn't going to work in the long run, but it definitely did something. So who knows, without the medication, if Boruto was to maintain his consciousness and still unlock that quote unquote true essence, he could have had a horn at that point in time. And it still justified everything Kawaki said, because he literally mistook him for Boruto, for Momoshiki, until he was speaking. So
all right, so here's my thing. And I feel like people are probably gonna understand where I'm coming from once I put this out. What we're saying is that True Essence Boruto will not be Boruto's strongest form.
it would be.
All right, so let's say in TBV currently, if Boruto goes True Essence, would he be stronger than a version of himself if Momoshiki took over his body?
If Momoshiki took over his body, that
Yeah,
all depends
TBV
on that.
Borushiki.
That all depends on who's strong. Who do you believe is stronger between Momoshiki and Boruto? But true essence Boruto with fully control of Momo, he's stronger than Momoshiki. But if Boruto, if it's the same person, bro, it's the
Yeah, it's the
same
same body.
person.
It's just
Is
different
that
personality. That's
It's
the
the same
problem.
person, so
Because you
they
gotta
would be the
remember,
same.
Momoshiki also gets stronger just by Boruto getting stronger.
Yeah, so like it
Yeah.
would
I get
literally be
that.
the
No, no,
same.
And wouldn't he be
I'm
in true
strictly talking about the
essence?
multiplier right now. I'm strictly talking
Right,
about the
right now.
multiplier.
Okay, right now
It
I'll
would be
answer
the
the question. I'll answer the question. It will be the same. So what's the
yeah.
next one?
How could it be the
Wouldn't he
same if
be?
in part one Borushiki was clearly stronger than, I guess, True Essence Boruto?
Like we said, we have to take into the factor one, Boruto is drugged at this point in time, and nobody was expecting him to go into the second stage in terms of unlocking the karma. And at that point, after that day, he never took Amado's meds again. So we have to take in that anomaly.
We also
And
gotta
then
remember, personality-wise, they're still different people. It goes back to the Rasengan situation. Momoshiki didn't have the Rasengan in his bag, so there's nothing to overlay onto Boruto in concerning the Rasengan. This is something that Momoshiki modified on the fly. We still gotta give it to Momoshiki that at that time, he's just a better tactician. He just has better knowledge of chakra control, of chakra manipulation, to where personality-wise, he's just a better pilot.
And plus, to add on to the evidence, right? We can even like to argue even more. Like, had Boruto not been on meds, because we got to take into account, why did Momoshiki even take over? Because Boruto damn near had a heart attack. So we know what he was actively doing with his body was not equivalent to what the meds was trying to do within his body. So that occurred, and he had a damn near a heart attack, and then Momoshiki took over, and that's when he was like, yeah, that medicine that AMADO gave you, it basically doing what it wasn't supposed to, but we know that Momoshiki's power was breaking through, and then Momoshiki takes over Boruto's body, and he fully unleashes the power. So like it still tracks.
I guess you argue that he's like in a form of true essence when he's using all of Momoshiki's cooperation? Like,
at this point in TBV, like I said, in TBV,
I wouldn't call that. My thing is,
that's just B1.
If we're saying that the only reason why we haven't seen the full power of True Essence Karma Seal is because of we haven't necessarily seen it because of the pills, I don't understand that. But then we're just saying, hey, we just don't know how strong True Essence is, so we can't fully say he's weaker than Borushiki. So it's really just up in the air in TBV.
But I think you're trying
to.
I think you're trying to mix it. I think you're trying to like combine part 1 and 2, because what are you referring to? Like, if we're sticking,
I'm just referring to the multipliers of the forms. I'm saying that True Essence, from what we've seen, and I get your point. Maybe the pills did nerf him to a certain degree, but from what we've seen, Borushiki is clearly stronger. Like, Borushiki without chakra was stronger than that version of Boruto True Essence.
That's what we're sticking to that part 1 Boruto. So if you're trying to say in terms of right now, it wouldn't make sense. It does, because we've seen what Boruto has been able to do, and we've seen him right now use Karma V1, and that also adds on to plus where he can use the Byakugan because of Momoshiki's cooperation. So if you're trying to, but that's what I'm saying, you're trying to use evidence from part 1 Borushiki to justify him being inevitably stronger in part 2 Boruto's story, but that doesn't work. That doesn't work. That's what I'm saying, because the things we're seeing Boruto even do in base, like, he could have been a problem for part 1 Borushiki in general, because it equates to how it automatically equates to how strong the vessel was. So at that point, if we see a Momoshiki take over Boruto's body like right now, and then we see a type of havoc, and then it's like a way out of this league, then that justifies what you've been saying. But you're trying to use part 1 Momoshiki's havoc as a justification for his superior strength in a part 2 story, where we see Boruto excel leagues beyond what we seen part 1 Borushiki do.
But we already went over the fact that because Boruto went through that training, Momoshiki also benefits from that as well. The form of Borushiki also benefits from that as well. So everything that Boruto upgraded, it benefited Borushiki. So it wouldn't necessarily be different. We're strictly talking about multipliers. Boruto's base goes into the multiplier of both. It's not necessarily like, oh, it's just True Essence. No, it's both.
So and your question was, who would be stronger, a True Essence Boruto currently or a Borushiki? And I said a True Essence Boruto.
Hell-based Boruto clowns on Borushiki Part 1. I mean, let's be honest.
Yes, because Borushiki Part 1 didn't have those multipliers that the base Boruto now has. In TBV, he would have those multipliers.
But then, okay, so even if because you wanna define who's stronger, but you're trying to use the combination, because Borushiki comes with 2 packages. It comes with Momoshiki's Karma and Boruto's body. You can't get one without the other, right? And Boruto body is compatible enough to where Momoshiki said he's a great vessel. He got one of a dime. He was lucky. So if you want to say, if we take part 1 TBV Boruto versus a essentially Momoshiki, and we equate to basically the same power-ups, we're going to have to take away anything we've seen Momoshiki do within Boruto's body, because that's not within his arsenal if you want to separate it to that degree.
But it'd be in Boruto. It'd be in Momoshiki's arsenal, which he's able to use now in the body of Boruto, which is again more multipliers. Is my point.
If you have, all right, so that's what I'm saying. So if you have 2 Borutos, one with the horn and one without the horn, that's what you want to basically put the hypotheticals at?
Not just the horn, Momoshiki controlling Boruto's body.
Well, that's what I'm
specifically for
saying. With the horn, that represents Momoshiki controlling. Because
All right,
I'm
okay, yeah.
talking about in a case scenario, let's say in a psyche world, like Momoshiki has his own body. We know in a physical world, he doesn't have his own body. But in the psyche case scenario, Momoshiki, like visibly as Momoshiki, we can recognize him as Momoshiki. And then we have a Boruto right now. And even taking into account that Boruto's strength growth equates to Momoshiki, if they were to match up and fight, from what I've seen with Boruto and how he was able to do that well against Jura, yes, I would say he's stronger than Momoshiki. The only reason Boruto is considering Momoshiki as a back card is because he knows his power plus Momoshiki's power should be enough to handle Jura, not one or the other.
Yes, and to be honest, I'm going to give Boruto that pass because I understand that just tapping into true essence out of nowhere isn't necessarily that easy. Even if we do say that, hey, the version that he did have against Cold, he was true essence. Just tapping into that wouldn't necessarily be that easy. But my point is, even if he did happen to the true essence, it wouldn't be as strong as if Momoshiki would just take over his current body with all the current upgrades and all the current training from Kashin Koji. I think that's a problem.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah, you're saying Momoshiki on top of everything that Boruto's learned. That's what you're saying.
Yes, but that's the version. That's the form of Borushiki.
Okay, I have a question though. Bara, do you think Kawaki's horned form is true essence, or do you think it has to be something more?
From part one, I thought it should have been something more.
But do you think it's true essence, or do you still think it should be something more?
I still think it should be something more.
Okay, so you don't think the horn form is true essence?
No, I think it's the second form of the Karma Seal.
Okay, so we're making a distinction between the Karma Seal, the second form of the Karma Seal and true essence, right?
Yeah, I think this should be a distinction.
So would you call Borushiki, who has the Karma tattoo and the horn, true essence, or something that's not true essence? Because this is Momoshiki tapping into all of his powers through Boruto's body. So you can't get any better than Momoshiki.
In a way, I'd still say it's not true essence. It's like more of like a loophole, so Momoshiki can actually get the powers of true essence, but it's not really true essence.
So are you saying
Momoshiki doing it and not the actual vessel?
So are you saying Momoshiki was purposely limiting his karma during the fight with Code where he wanted to kill Code?
No, I don't think Momoshiki can access true essence. I think that's a vessel thing.
Interesting.
I would say even right now, if you were to give, because you can't, if you give Momoshiki the hypothetical advantage of having everything at Boruto's disposal, you're saying in that hypothetical advantage, Boruto is also working in cooperation with Momoshiki, because we know in every case that Momoshiki used Boruto's body, he had to keep his chakra at a certain limit. So he worked with what he had. So that was giant Rasengans, small Rasengans, kunai. That's it.
That's not necessarily every time, because when he took over his body during the Code thing, and I guess we even conceded that I guess that version of Borushiki should have also been nerfed. Like that version of Borushiki was way stronger than,
because he had the chakra at that point. And like I said, the Code thing is an anomaly because he caught a heart attack in the middle of a power up.
Yeah, but that's also the point. I'm saying it's not necessarily a guarantee that Borushiki would always have no chakra, because we did see him fight with chakra.
Yeah, and with chakra, we've seen him do giant Rasengans, small Rasengans, and kunais. Okay. So even if we go into TBV, we have that, and then we give him the ability, like Momoshiki will naturally know how to use Flying Raijin because Boruto learned Flying Raijin. And then he would have Uzuhiko. Boruto also has his Uzuhiko. So like, it's like, what else could what else would make you so sure? Like if we would even
isn't that just making my point? Borushiki in part one, even though let's say he only used Boruto's abilities, was still stronger than Boruto himself, even without chakra.
Because that's in part one. And that's without a fully realized karma seal.
It's the same, because
you're trying to say within parts. No, because in part one, the multiplier is, Momoshiki already knows how to do everything he needs to know. And Code's entire point for Boruto and Kawaki at that point was, y'all don't know how to properly use karma. So every time Momoshiki shows up, there's going to be a difference in power. And even after all of that happened, Boruto said he's learning how to use Momoshiki's power better. So that even goes to say it's not an instantaneous thing where he can just instantly be as strong as Momoshiki. But we see now, post-time skip, after Boruto has trained up into a certain point to get his natural body to a certain degree and level of power. And now we see if he has access to Momoshiki's power.
But then again, Momoshiki would now have access to Boruto's body. His upgraded body.
That's what I'm saying. So Momoshiki would have access to the body, but Boruto has access to the power.
So you're saying would also get buffed.
You're saying right now, if Momoshiki took over, he would be stronger than Boruto right now at this point.
No, if we're saying that what we seen earlier was true essence, if Momoshiki takes over Boruto, he'd be stronger than that than true essence. If we're saying that was true essence, yes.
So are you just disregarding everything that went into him awakening that form at that moment? Because you're just trying to say true essence, yes or no, but it's not that cut and dry for Boruto. You get me? Well, everybody left me hanging.
My mic plugged out. Hold on.
No, okay.
Yeah, my mic plugged out. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So are you riding with that scenario, Barra, where it's like what I was just saying with what you said?
I don't think it was applicable to what we're discussing. All the buffs that Boruto got, it would still apply to Borishiki. That's why I'm saying currently, yes, if Momoshiki took over, he's still stronger than that version of true essence.
But I'm saying though, you're saying because if we're counting that as Boruto's true essence and Momoshiki still being stronger than that form, you're not equating that to the fact that Boruto was on meds and he caught a heart attack. And on top of the fact, he wasn't supposed to be doing that in the first place.
But we seen Borishiki right after that, and that Borishiki was also on meds, and that Borishiki was also stronger than true essence Boruto.
Because we already heard Momoshiki declare that Amado's med was working at first, but it wasn't inevitably going to be the answer. And at that point in time, because listen, it tracks because at that point in time, Boruto just had a heart attack. So we know if everything doesn't go according to like what occurred at that point, no Momoshiki revives, he's going to be in a point in time where they're telling him, don't use that karma. It's bad for your health. That's a no-go. But he has the heart attack. Momoshiki literally stops time, takes over his body, unleashes more power, begins to operate, and then Kawaki goes on to stab the man through the heart. He gets revived. So that automatically disregards all of that because now this is a brand new life for Boruto.
I don't see. So are we saying that once Boruto then got taken over by Momoshiki, he automatically nullifies all the effects of the pills?
Because Boruto was already nullifying the effects because it was supposed to suppress Byakugan genes specifically. And Boruto just unlocked a second stage of the karma and a Byakugan on top of that. So that's why I said it was a collision because the meds is operating to suppress exactly what Boruto is doing. So him having a heart attack at that point in time tracks and it makes sense.
I get that, but after the heart attack, are we saying that now all of a sudden he's 100% healthy and Borishiki's now has like a clean slate? I don't get it.
I mean, that's Momoshiki at that point. That's Momoshiki. He's using that as an advantage to take over. So when Momoshiki takes over, he shows cases where Boruto is already in a peril, right? He took over.
Real quick, I understand that, but is Momoshiki affected by the pills once he takes over Boruto's body?
He has a natural healing ability that's been unexplainable.
I mean, if we think about it,
Borushiki is the same thing with true essence as well, right? Should be.
I mean, if we think about it, in chapter 66, Boruto seems to apply that the side effect of the pills was giving Momoshiki that chance to take over. Because he even says it, Amado's meds do seem to work. I've been able to control Momoshiki's power to an extent, but it's only temporary. It's far from a solution. I mean, look at what just happened. Talk about some awful side effects. So, I came this close to killing my dad. So the heart attack seems to be a catalyst of the pills not being able to work anymore, and Momoshiki coming back in full force to fully take over Boruto's body.
That's what I'm saying.
So the heart attack, it is those pills being able. Okay, Momoshiki has basically circumvented the pills now. He's able to take over again. It was just a temporary solution, and even if we go back earlier on to the chapter, Momoshiki confirms it and saying, "Yeah, this was only a stopgap. Like you're not getting your happy ending. The word is still Momoshiki. Even if you halt karmic extraction with some trifling drug, it's no more than a stopgap measure." So we have this, and then Boruto confirms it. Yeah, the side effect was being fully overtaken by Momoshiki at that point in time, regardless if Boruto had enough chakra or not. Because we gotta remember, the last time Momoshiki took over, the last 2 times Momoshiki took over, he's only been able to do it when Boruto's low on chakra. That was the whole reason we were able to even get Boruto back in the Ishiki fight, was because Sasuke deduced that, restored Boruto's chakra, replenished it to a certain extent, and then Boruto came back. But the pills, while they were beneficial initially, they caused Momoshiki to circumvent the standard takeover of karma, to where it didn't matter about Boruto's mental state. It didn't matter how much chakra he had. It didn't matter that he wasn't fully extracted. Momoshiki could go into full force and take over Boruto. That's what the heart attack is showing. That's what the side effect was. It basically gave Momoshiki an open door policy to take over Boruto's body. Now that I think about it, maybe that's part of the pills. Maybe that was part of the pills.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think we're arguing that. We're arguing, okay, it gave Momoshiki the opening, but was the vessel of Boruto still affected by the pills when Momoshiki was in control of it?
No, because literally, all right, so at that point, him having a heart attack is a result of a note. Like, his body already reached a point to where it wasn't supposed to reach. Even though he was in control, he's using a karma, and on top of that, he has a Byakugan active, which never happened before when he wasn't even taking the pills. So now at that point, as medicine, like it's like the white blood cells and red blood cells things, it automatically starts to activate. It starts to attack, and one loses or the other. So as a result of that, it happens to be a heart attack in Boruto's case, regardless of who's the winner, whether the pills overcome and becomes to overcome the other Otsutsuki blood cells, or the Otsutsuki blood cells are overcoming the pills and basically dissipating the effects of the pills completely. But regardless of that, the effects is, at that point, Boruto has a heart attack, and he may not be able to operate, but for Momoshiki, this is his opportunity to revive.
Exactly. And you can go a step further. The reason why he's having the heart attack is because now Momoshiki is manifesting. Is because Momoshiki is now taking over Boruto's body. Because before the heart attack, Momoshiki wasn't able to manifest at all. The fact that he's manifesting this way is basically the pill side effect. Like, yeah, you closed that door on me, Boruto, but now it's wide open. Now I'm taking you over, and it makes sense because in addition to Boruto saying that's the side effect, we have the second he gets the heart attack, he's now able to see Momoshiki. He's now able to see Momoshiki for the first time since he got the karma, since time basically stopped. And he even talks about it that day right after we took Momoshiki down. That's likely when he implanted the karma in me. That's the same feeling he got when Momoshiki initially marked him. So that's the side effect. And, Boruto confirms it at the end of the day. So the heart attack wouldn't affect Borushiki because the heart attack is the catalyst for Momoshiki to take over.
So we're saying throughout the entire fight, Boruto is suffering from an onset of a heart attack.
He had the heart attack. Momoshiki stopped time.
I'm saying once we saw True Essence Boruto, was he then weakened because of the onset of the heart attack?
No, we saw True Essence Boruto, and we inevitably already off bat know it's an incomplete form, one, because he doesn't grow the horn. Everybody was like, it's cool, but it's not the horn. And everybody just chalked it up because Kawaki doesn't have actively Ishiki in his body versus Boruto having Momoshiki in his body. So at that point in time, that's where the discussions were around. But looking back, using hindsight with all of this information, we know essentially, especially because of how the events played out, it was incomplete because of the pills and because of the side effects of the pills. So I'm saying at that point in time, in a hypothetical scenario, Bar, had Boruto not been on pills and everything still played out the way it played out, he goes after Kabuki. Code whoops both of their asses. He explains the karma seal. Boruto activates the first version of the karma and gets his ass whooped. And Code is like, y'all not using a proper version. If Boruto is not on the pills and he still does what he does and maintains his consciousness, he likely has a horn if he's not on the pills.
So I feel like now we're regressing the argument back to what I was kind of saying, where that's not really true essence Boruto.
If you want to be technical about it, if you want to be technical, if you want to give the man 3 forms, Bara, then yeah.
Am I giving him 3 forms, or is that what the writers are doing?
No, the writers are saying there's a true essence form. Boruto is already an anomaly in this entire situation. So as an anomaly, I'm gonna do what anomaly do, which is operate outside the lines or the normal means of operation. So Boruto maybe, like, even I've seen even in the past people call it like a pseudo true essence because it wasn't true essence. It was him tapping into that power, but it wasn't fully unleashed.
I'm fully confused. So it wasn't true essence.
But he's still overlaying part of Momoshiki's powers.
It's like Naruto. It's like the 4-tail Naruto or a 6-tail Naruto. What's the difference? The 6-tail Naruto has more power than the 4-tail Naruto. It's still the tailed power though. Like, it's still true essence.
We're not asking if he's tapping into Karma's power at that point. We're not.
We're asking if he's tapping into true essence or not. We're asking if he's using true essence.
I'm talking about when it was Naruto. We knew he was in 4 tails when he was in 4 tails. We knew he was in 6 tails when he was in 6 tails. This we're just questioning. We don't know. And I'm saying I think we kind of agree where it's like this isn't true. And to be honest, if we're actually saying, hey, this is like a pseudo true essence, I wouldn't necessarily mind it. Because now I know that the actual true essence would actually be stronger than the Borishiki. That was my biggest contention. Are we saying that true essence isn't his strongest?
Well, that's my point. That's my entire point. An actual true essence Boruto would be stronger than even what we've seen that Boruto do. Like, disregarding Borishiki, an actual true essence Boruto would have been stronger hypothetically than that version of Boruto. That fall.
But see, there's levels to it. It's like, for example, Super Saiyan. We've had multiple times to where they're not channeling Super Saiyan fully right until they get to Mastered Super Saiyan. This is still Boruto overlaying part of Momoshiki's power onto himself to fight. So he's still gaining that experience. When before this situation, he wasn't gaining experience. He wasn't gaining any of Momoshiki's experience or battle power initially. And Boruto even says it. Yeah, I've been able to control Momoshiki's power to an extent, but it's temporary. It's a side effects. So he's still tapping into Momoshiki's abilities. He's still overlaying himself to an extent, which is tapping into the karma the right way. He just didn't get the chance to fully do everything before the side effects hit him.
If that's the case, then we agree. I mean, I don't think that there's like anything different. I mean, this just isn't necessarily true essence. Maybe it's a pseudo true essence. I call it stage 2 of the karma.
But see, here's the thing, though. You have the horn form being that final form. So, Momoshiki is using everything in his reserves. So that also means Kawaki is tapping into true essence right now in this scenario.
I didn't believe so. And the reason why I didn't believe so is because we've seen that version of Kawaki already. This is not the first time we've seen true. I mean, of course, we didn't necessarily see the dojutsu.
It didn't have the dojutsu. So
but we've seen that version. So it's like, in Naruto's living room, was that true essence karma? I mean, true essence Kawaki?
But see, here's the situation. We have Jigen to an extent going into that horn form, tapping into more of Ishiki's powers. So what comes after the horn situation, when it seems to be this is the peak of the karma, when you channel the horn, when you channel the dojutsu, like Kawaki's been doing, Boruto did it with the eye and the tattoo. He was just missing the horn.
I maybe it's just me, but I just believe that true essence should be a vessel thing. I don't think that Jigen was tapping into true essence. I don't think that Jigen was tapping into true essence. I think Ishiki was controlling the body of Jigen, similar to Borishiki. It was, of course, through a different mechanism. Ishiki was actually alive on the brain of Jigen. This is something different, but I think it's kind of similar. They're just being controlled
I
by
don't know. It just really wouldn't make sense to give them a hypothetical third form when they haven't even tapped into their other forms. Boruto especially hasn't been able to recreate the form that he did against Code at all.
Honestly, I think it would be, in terms of form, I don't necessarily think it would be a different form. The only different form would be this one right here. Well, not necessarily this, but the only different form would be the quote-unquote true essence when he's fighting against Code, because that's like a pseudo true essence now. That would be the only different form. It'd still be the same Kawaki with a horn or Boruto with a horn. It's just who's controlling the body.
I would say it still is true essence, because that is tapping into the form. He's just not fully powering up to his max. I would compare it to Super Saiyan. Like, he's still overlaying it. So I would say the form doesn't really matter in that situation. He's tapping into the Karma's power. He's tapping into the Otsutsuki's power. I personally would still call it true essence.
But not fully there. They're not fully tapping into the power, which is what we're told that true essence was.
I would still say, because he's still overlaying it. He's just not drawing it out fully power wise. That's the way I personally see it. And you know, I feel like we'll get that tiebreak. I feel like we'll get that definitive answer soon. But it feels like, you know, Boruto right now, it is in a, for example, let's go to the Kawaki Boruto fight. I think that's chapter 78. Hang on, let's see, where is it? Okay, can we agree this is V1, right? The full base karma, right?
Yeah.
This is Boruto activating the initial karma with no Byakugan, no tattoo mark, right? So this is his clear definitive V1, right? Then we have Boruto with that same tattoo mark, but tapping into the Byakugan. Now he's overlaying some of Momoshiki's abilities, right? Can we agree on that? Okay, so this is a higher level than that V1, right? So what would we call this?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's the higher level. This is different.
He is tapping into the Byakugan, so we do have to say that it is giving him a higher power boost, because there's a clear difference between this karma form and this karma form.
But then again, Momoshiki is now feeding in more stuff that Boruto can actually utilize, whereas we can't necessarily say that part 1 Boruto couldn't do this if he didn't have the same agreement with Momoshiki.
But see, here's the thing. This isn't Momoshiki even helping out. This is just him telling him, take the bag. I'm not going to fight you on this. He's basically Kawaki now, where for as long as the deal stands, he has full control of whatever he wants. Like, he even says, use the karma. This isn't Momoshiki whispering in Boruto's ear and saying, okay, bet, I'm gonna unlock the Byakugan for you. I need you to do this, this, and that. No, this is, screw you, inferior creature. I hate you, but I'm gonna throw you my car keys for a bit. Go drive around the block for a bit.
I can't give you that, because again, I feel like we're just dismissing all the training that he did with Kashin Koji.
Yes, 100%. He did train, but we gotta remember that's base Boruto. Of course,
different base Boruto.
Yes, but we gotta remember, of course, base Boruto. The stronger base Boruto is, the stronger his karma self will be. But we gotta remember that has nothing to do with the base power sets of the karma. It's not because he got stronger that he can now tap into the Byakugan. It's because
it's not necessarily about the. I don't think the Byakugan is specifically coming from the karma. I think it's just intelligence of him actually tapping into the Byakugan. Just like how Kawaki can tap into his dojutsu without actually utilizing the karma. I think eventually Boruto is going to be able to tap into the Byakugan without using the karma.
But see, the problem is Boruto is in a whole different situation compared to Kawaki. Boruto's eye has been slashed. Boruto's eye is effectively a dead eye in his base mode. We know that the only times he's been able to access that eye is during the karma. So the karma is somehow fixing his eye. But we gotta remember.
Now we're talking about functionality of the eye, not necessarily can he do it. It's just functionality. But see,
here's the thing. It's the only way he's ever been able to activate that eye is when he taps into the Byakugan.
I get
It's not something he can do in base. That's the issue. It's not something he can do in base right now because to even use that eye, to even open that eye, he needs to have the karma active.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that the Byakugan is coming from the karma seal. It just means that the eye is being able to open because of the extra muscle fibers that the karma seal is giving his eye. That doesn't necessarily mean the Byakugan specifically.
But it's not even muscle fibers. Boruto, even with his destroyed eye, should be able to open his eyelids.
The whole reason he has the Byakugan is because of the karma seal.
I don't know. Like in the future, I'm not ruling out him utilizing Byakugan without the karma because I've seen Kawaki do it.
I mean, the whole reason Kawaki has his dojutsu is because of his karma seal.
But he can utilize it without the karma.
Yeah, I mean now he can, but I'm saying he got it because of the karma.
He can't use the Byakugan.
He got it because of the karma seal. I wouldn't even go against that, but I'm saying specifically in this particular situation, we're talking about the difference between part 1 and part 2. Hypothetically, if Boruto gets that agreement with Momoshiki in part 1, but also gains all the information, all the knowledge that he gets from the training with Kashi Koji throughout those 3 years, and Sasuke throughout those 3 year time skips. I'm not saying, can we definitively say he can't unlock it in part 1?
But see, here's the issue: Kawaki can do it immediately. Yeah, because Kawaki can do it immediately, and even in base because he has no backseat gamer. This is a situation it didn't matter how much Boruto trained, the karma was forever going to be locked off to him at that point in time until Momoshiki gave him the keys. That includes the Byakugan. Because Boruto in base wasn't tapping into the Byakugan at all, even though the Byakugan could have been useful like crazy. Imagine him activating the Byakugan
because he didn't know
while he's fighting Hidari.
He didn't know how to. He still doesn't know how to activate the Jogan.
But the Jogan's a whole separate thing. The second he gained the second he got Momoshiki's deal, he gained Momoshiki's experience, which included the Byakugan, which shows that the fact that he's even activating the Byakugan with the karma shows that this is a better controlled karma compared to this initial state. Because we gotta remember,
that's my thing. If this version of Boruto plus all the knowledge that he has in TBV gets the permission from Momoshiki, I'm not necessarily ruling out the fact that he could just activate the Byakugan right here.
That's not the argument. That's not the argument. The argument is
that's what I was saying.
But see, the argument is it goes down to how much of the karma he can use. This is a higher level form of karma that he's using compared to the one he used as a kid. Can we agree on that?
I wouldn't disagree with that, but I wouldn't necessarily say that the Byakugan is the reason why. I wouldn't necessarily say that.
But see, he's tapping into it. That's the issue. He's tapping into it with the karma. That's the problem. That was what makes it intrinsically different compared to this version. This version of Boruto isn't rocking out with a Byakugan because he can't tap into the karma more compared to someone like Kawaki, who has everything right off the bat because he has no backseat driver, has the base Kokugan, because of Ishiki not being there. If Momoshiki wasn't around in Boruto, he'd be in the same situation as Kawaki and being able to tap into the karma. And it even goes back to what Boruto said. I tried to use the karma on code. I couldn't even manifest this. Like this initial state, it was fully locked off on Boruto. And that's a Boruto who's even stronger than this Boruto. And his karma, his ability to use karma got even worse because Momoshiki said, you know what? Screw you. I'm not letting you touch a speck of karma. I mean, you gotta remember, this is the same Boruto. This is Boruto post-resurrection. So you have 12-year-old Boruto.
I don't know. Let me ask you a question. And I think this could potentially, I might concede if you, depending on the answer. Hypothetically, Boruto didn't agree with Momoshiki. Could he still be able to utilize the Byakugan?
No.
So what's the difference? I'm confused.
The difference is Momoshiki granted him. Momoshiki
but
basically
in part one, if he did that, he'd still be.
Oh, you're talking about part one. You're talking about part one.
Yeah. Okay, no, but he did. Let's say in part two, if he didn't have that agreement with Momoshiki, would he be able to activate the Byakugan? You said no,
because he's not activating the karma at all. That's the issue. And if he doesn't make that deal with Momoshiki, he's not getting any karma abilities. He's not getting any of Momoshiki's advanced abilities.
All right, so let's say hypothetically Boruto did did activate the Karma Seal, would the Karma Seal only give him ability to activate the Byakugan in part 2?
If say he was still able to activate the initial Karma Seal, right? It would most likely still be this situation to where he's activating the initial Karma, but he doesn't get the extra special abilities like the Byakugan.
But isn't it? This goes to my point. The same thing with part 1 Boruto. If Boruto got the permission from Momoshiki, he'd be able to actually utilize the Byakugan there as well.
Yes,
it's not necessarily a Karma Seal function.
But see, here's the issue: he's giving him access to the full powers of the Karma. That's the difference. That's the issue. This Boruto, 12-year-old Boruto, isn't able to tap into the Karma correctly. For example, the pills. The pills allowed him to momentarily tap into Momoshiki's power. Momoshiki was blocking off that power. It didn't matter if Boruto was a full Otsutsuki or not at that point. It's just Momoshiki wasn't allowing him to reach that power level. It's Momoshiki stepping on that on the brakes and saying, "Nope, you can't have this." Unlike Kawaki, who's fully been able to access the Karma because he has no backseat driver. For example, here, look at this. Look at this. For example. We have Boruto fighting Code, right?
Mm.
And he's using the Karma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's using the base Karma. He's not getting any other special powers from Momoshiki. He's not getting a Dojutsu. He's not getting... He's basically just using the base Karma power amp, right? Code even calls him out on it. So Code calls him out on it. Then we have Boruto tapping into a higher level with the Byakugan. They attribute this to the pills. The pills are circumventing Momoshiki to an extent. He was able to temporarily hijack Momoshiki's powers, a percentage of Momoshiki's powers.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't because Boruto's Boruto. This isn't because of how strong Boruto is. It's not like Naruto who wrestled control of Kurama's power to an extent. This is Boruto circumventing Momoshiki's will with the pills to tap into greater powers of the Karma. Once that happens, once the Momoshiki takeover happens, once the heart attack happens, once Boruto comes back to his senses, he tells Kawaki that, yeah, the pills did work to an extent. He was able to hijack some of Momoshiki's powers, but it was only temporary. Once that high wore off, Momoshiki hijacked him. So once that happened, the next time Boruto tries to use the Karma, he's back to that initial state. He's not tapping into much of Momoshiki's powers. He's only in that initial V1 state with no Dojutsu, with no markings at all, to where, the Byakugan could have came in really handy, but he doesn't have access to that. It's not because he's weak. There's a reason. It's not because
he doesn't have access to Momoshiki's power.
Yeah, because Momoshiki is that stopgap compared to Kawaki. Kawaki got the perks right off the bat because he has no second person to wrestle with. But it's all about the Karma. It's only because Momoshiki is giving him access to the Karma without fighting him. It doesn't matter how strong base Boruto is. The only thing base Boruto adds is it makes his Karma form that much stronger. It's like Super Saiyan. The stronger your base form is, the stronger Super Saiyan will be.
He'd also have the intelligence. My thing is, specifically in this particular situation, I don't necessarily think it comes specifically from the Karma. It comes from Momoshiki's power. That's what it is. And if that's the case, and I understand you're saying that, hey, part 2 Boruto has an upgraded Karma Seal, I don't necessarily think it's an upgrade in the fact that he now has the Byakugan in that specific form. I think that just comes from Momoshiki's power. If you recall, I don't necessarily. This was like dialogue a long time ago, back part 1 dialogues, but there was 2 things that were extracting from the Karma Seal: the Karma Seal itself and the Otsutsuki DNA. Boruto became 100% Otsutsuki, but the Karma Seal itself, I forgot. It was so long ago. I forgot how they
the Karma
was different from the actual Otsutsuki DNA.
No, see, here's the issue. The Karma is extracting the Otsutsuki DNA. It's
a vehicle, yes.
Once the full extraction happens, the Karma disappears. The Karma never disappeared for Boruto because it never resurrected, but the Karma itself is fully formed. The Karma is just a defense mechanism normally to protect the host so the Otsutsuki can so the host can live long enough for the Otsutsuki to resurrect. The karma itself is fully formed in Boruto's case. It's not going to get any stronger.
Exactly, but we see a fully formed karma with Code. He's not getting crazy. The power comes from the Otsutsuki, but see, not just the karma.
But see, here's the issue. Code implies that he is gaining experience. It's just his karma works differently. Where he's not gonna get the shinjutsu from the karma. He's not gonna get the absorption mechanism, but he's still getting exponentially stronger.
He wouldn't get a dojutsu either. He wouldn't get. We still don't have a name for it, but he wouldn't get that. He wouldn't get Ishiga's dojutsu either.
100%.
You only get that from the Otsutsuki.
But see here, but 100%. But that the issue with that is because Code never had that Otsutsuki essence. He never had that Otsutsuki essence diffused into him. The Otsutsuki essence is still in that karma. It's just not diffused into him.
Yeah, it's just not compatible.
He only got the raw power.
Yeah, he has the raw power. It
wasn't compatible with Gold,
but he still gets the other benefits, such as overlaying.
Yeah, but the important part is the Otsutsuki DNA. Like I think most of the Byakugan comes from the Otsutsuki DNA. It doesn't necessarily come from the karma. And I understand. Hey, the Otsutsuki DNA. The only reason why Boruto has it is through the vehicle of the karma, but it's not the karma giving him the Byakugan. It's Momoshiki.
I get what you're trying to say.
Oh, like you're gonna say something?
No, I was just saying I get what you were trying to say, Bara, and then I
think Ryzen said that though.
Yeah, but
it's if you said that
we're arguing.
But see, here's the situation.
Specifically differentiate between, I guess, the karma itself being access. Dang, they bumping music. The karma itself being access to Boruto as a means of like the power and the Otsutsuki DNA, or just that being separate, like how Bara is saying, and the Byakugan being a byproduct of the Otsutsuki DNA, not the karma.
But see, here's the issue. Yeah. We know Boruto, as a full-blooded Otsutsuki, gains the base Otsutsuki powers in base. Momoshiki can't shut off Boruto's flight. He also can't shut off Boruto's space-time ninjutsu. He also can't shut off Boruto's ability to hide his chakra signature, because that's a base ability. If Boruto is able to tap into the Byakugan in base by himself, that shouldn't be an ability Momoshiki can hold against him. So right now, and especially because his eye is damaged and can only really be temporarily healed by activating the karma, it's an ability Momoshiki can hold off against him with the karma. That's the issue.
It's not just the fact that he's an Otsutsuki. It's the fact that it's Momoshiki's DNA that was being dispersed into Boruto.
Yes, but here's the situation. What is Momoshiki blocking off from Boruto right now?
Nothing.
Before the deal.
Nothing.
Before the deal, but before the deal, could Boruto tap into the karma at will?
Yes.
Control it.
Yeah.
And control it.
Yeah. Momoshiki said so.
I'm saying before. I'm saying before the deal. I'm saying before.
Yes, Momoshiki said he couldn't do anything to Boruto.
Bro. If he could control it, he wouldn't have ran from Kawaki.
So Boruto would have been in full control of the karma. He would have been able to conveniently turn it off, turn it on, use the exact amount of power needed before the deal.
No, he couldn't have.
Yo, if I record my next pod, I need y'all to curse me out. Well, not necessarily this weekend. The weekend.
You even say he had like a tingly feeling or some type of weird feeling when he tried.
But yeah, the reason why Boruto, and I understand what Kashi Koji was saying, and of course we all have to question what Kashi Koji's motives were in the first place at that particular point. But I still believe it. Before he made the deal, when Boruto had all the anxiety issues and stuff like that, yes, he could have done that. He could have done that. Momoshiki himself wasn't going to interfere because Momoshiki was resolute in dying. He understood that he wasn't going to be able to take over Boruto's body anymore. Boruto understood. Well, I ain't going to say Boruto understood that, but Boruto processed that but didn't trust it, which is why he never used the karma seal throughout the time skip. And of course, that could also be a reason as to why he wasn't able to immediately turn it off once it popped up in the in the manga in TBV. We already seen once he was actually utilizing the Karma Seal fully, he wasn't necessarily always able to turn it on and turn it off. It wasn't like that. So of course, just what I see in TBV, it doesn't necessarily tell me that he wouldn't be able to control it. The only thing that would tell me that is Kashin Koji, and we already talked about Kashin Koji telling Boruto things for not necessarily the most straightforward of reasons.
But here's the issue.
Kawaki's first reaction was he can't control his karma.
Yeah, and Boruto himself should know if he can control it or not. So resonance happens here. We can even go through it slowly. Chapter 9. Kawaki activates his karma. It resonates with Boruto's. Boruto sees his karma activate. Koji thinks this is bad. The karmas are resonating. Boruto seems to be in pain, trying to repress the karma. Koji says, Boruto, you need to leave now.
They're resonating.
Put distance between you, or you're gonna lose control. So he's struggling. He's sweating. Kawaki says he can't control his karma. We go a bit into the next chapter. Here's Boruto. He's panting.
I think
Shikamaru
this is
says, Boruto, you okay?
right
What
here.
happened? No worries. A minor break. I just need a little break. Minor issue. I just need a little break. So it seems like, Koji has no reason to lie, and if he was lying, Boruto would call him out on it. Wait, lose control? But I feel like I can fully control Momoshiki's karma, but that's not the case. Boruto's actions corroborate that. We go to chapter 14, I think, when he goes to see Momoshiki, and this is not even the first time he's realized that he can't control the karma. Let's go chapter 15, I think. We go to chapter 15. Boruto and Kawaki have their talk. What about that bastard Momoshiki? Things ain't settled with him yet, are they? From what I saw earlier, you still can't control your karma. Boruto pauses for a second. He says, about 2 years ago, when my teacher and I fought code together, I used my karma for the first time since I'd left the village. That's when I sensed it. Something similar to the feeling I got whenever Momoshiki possessed me. What? A feeling where I stopped being who I am and started dying while still conscious and aware. Since then, I haven't used karma once.
I call that anxiety. I'm sorry, I do. Go to the dialogue he had with Momoshiki specifically, where Momoshiki said he couldn't do anything. Like, I just think it's anxiety. But Momoshiki understood that Momoshiki understood there was no way he could actually take over the body of Boruto. Boruto was, of course, feeling some things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he couldn't actually go into the karma seal again. It's over.
But see, that's because of Boruto's mental resolve. That's the issue. As long as Boruto never touched that karma, he's not. Momoshiki's
didn't
not
know how to
taking
control it.
But see, here's the thing: what removes the anxiety from Boruto to now be able to use the karma without him feeling like he's gonna die, without him feeling like he's gonna stop being Boruto?
The deal he made with Momoshiki. Yeah, but I'm saying that deal in itself doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't able to utilize it throughout the entirety of the time skip. It was just that his mind prevented him to do it. It wasn't nothing about the karma.
But then why make that deal? Why say, if you let me use the karma, if you let me use your powers, I will give you my body after this is done. If he can tap into that,
powers is something far past just the karma seal. We know this. It's something different. We even compared this version of Boruto to True Essence Boruto in TBV. It's not necessarily like it's just base Boruto with a karma. It's different.
I don't know. It feels like he needed Momoshiki's permission to use the karma because it feels like,
for his own mental health. I agree. Yes. I get it.
Okay.
How y'all? Okay, just like since we talking about Momoshiki, when do y'all think we finna tackle this arc with Momoshiki and how we finna even deal with him? Because I'm still on the whole entire idea that Momoshiki and Boruto are gonna have to duke it out, and then we gonna know for sure at that point who's really stronger.
I haven't even bought into that idea though, that they're gonna eventually fight. I understand it's like a fan favorite, but I don't know.
How do you think I've always said Momoshiki arc then, or do you believe that's like an in game type of thing?
I don't even think it needs to be an arc. It could just be like what Naruto had with Karma. Just in the progress of another arc, they make steps.
You want them to become best friends.
I've been saying
my
that
best friend
since,
Momoshiki.
I've been saying that since like the tuning exam. So yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah, you have been saying that. Yeah, it's not
I can
happening.
vouch. I can definitely
It's
vouch.
it's inevitable at this particular point. It's
listen.
inevitable. I think eventually they're going to have a form together. It could be True Essence or something like that. But again, hopefully it's not. But it could be a completely different form that's way stronger than True Essence, and of course that'll just be their form.
Free game, you know the form I'm thinking. I'm thinking like the furthest they can go is like a Bruce Banner and a Hulk type of thing. That's as close as I can see Momoshiki and Boruto getting. Like I don't see them
It's a rage
becoming
out.
Naruto and
I mean,
Kurama at all.
do you really think Momoshiki's the type to give up his millennia goal just off a Talk No Jutsu? That's the issue.
Or they can become smart Hulk. You know,
I was about to say, if he's at
fix
a
the
point,
brains
if
and the
he's literally
bronze.
at a point, bro, if he's at a point where he was resolute to die and hoping Boruto died against like all the adversaries against Code and Jura, he can just get him up a little ladder and be like, just be cool with like, hey, anytime I do let you come out, I'll give you the deal that you can just wreak havoc. So Boruto just makes sure Momoshiki only pops out like Bruce Banner does when it's time to get angry. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's bring out the Hulk. All right, let's bring out the Hulk. Let's bring out Momoshiki. Fuck it.
Okay, I have a question.
Momoshiki is not gonna be with
I
that.
have a question. For everyone. So when Boruto and Momoshiki talk about the deal, Boruto's karma activates by itself, and Momoshiki tells him you can use the karma. Is that Momoshiki handing him the keys to the karma, or is that Boruto just saying, you know what, I could use this anyway, I'm just gonna activate it? Because for me, it feels like Momoshiki handed him the keys to the house. It goes back to Amado's talk with Kawaki, where he had the house, he had the power inside him, he just didn't have a key, which was the karma. It feels like Momoshiki is giving him the keys to that karma, which is why he can use it now. Do we think if do we think if the deal ends for a moment, if Momoshiki tries to take over, deal ends, do we think Boruto will be able to control the karma fully before he beats Momoshiki down?
I feel like it'll be like I said, it'll be a tug for power because I want it to be between them. Like once, like I don't know, because Kawaki's gonna be the target. That's why I'm saying like once Akebi comes into the mix, like I'm betting my bottom dollar. Now that I think about it, once Akebi comes into the mix, Momoshiki makes his move because that's a viable Otsutsuki to feed to the Ten Tails. However, they proceed to go about that. So if we defeat it's like a domino effect because then we got to talk about, well, if we defeat Hidari or Jura, how will we proceed about that? Is somebody going to absorb Jura? Does he has a thorn sword ball? Are they going to revert him back to a mindless beast? How are we going to get that to equate to basically getting a future chakra fruit, right? So, excuse me. So I don't know. I think it might just be like, I don't want it to be like exactly like Naruto and Kurama, but I think they're going to fight and the winner wins and has everything, the body and the power, and the loser locked up forever. Or, like I said, Bruce Banner and the Hulk. So once the deal's off, we're gonna see how Momoshiki makes his move. It's a matter of when he decides to cut it off. So,
yeah, could be.
And if like, because at this point we know the entire point was also Boruto getting to a point where when he's fighting Jura, is he going to just try to fight Jura with his karma and try to go as far as he can? Or is he going to basically go Bruce Banner and the Hulk and let Momoshiki out? So,
I
so
think
yeah, like
it.
Momoshiki still technically, like, would he have to fight Jura first before we even get to that point?
I kind of would want to see Momoshiki take the reins and get humbled a bit, but we have to see, it would have to depend on what Boruto meant, because if Boruto's fighting Jura by himself and he doesn't let Momoshiki take over at all, that implies that Boruto has everything that Momoshiki could ever use that's possible. That means it won't matter who's in control.
Yeah.
It's just personality and on the fly fighting style changes. But if he does willingly give Momoshiki control and Momoshiki's not taking over, that means Boruto still sees Momoshiki as the superior fighter, the superior person to draw out all that power, Because if he does have everything that Momoshiki is, he has no reason to give up control fighting Jura unless he feels like Momoshiki's the better tactician.
Yeah. What if I feel like, because if like say the fight does happen and Boruto does start out the fight using the karma, using the Byakugan, and doing all of this, what if maybe in Boruto's case it's like, let me do as much as I can, and then once I reach a certain point and once Jura gets comfortable enough, because at this point Jura is still like, he likes to learn, right? And that's something Boruto can use against him. And like you said, at this point, the main difference isn't the power, it's about the personality and how you approach the battle. So once Boruto gives Momoshiki the keys, it's like, damn, Jura is gonna be like, he's fighting differently. Like I'm not like, no, that's not how Boruto fights, but nah, it's Momoshiki who's fighting. You know what I'm saying? So he would probably have to adjust. So maybe that can be the main key that Boruto's banking on.
Like the mind shuffle from Yu-Gi-Oh, where Yugi and Yami switched places to Triple Pegasus.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically trick him up, like get him off his toes. Because at one point, once you get like all great fighting stories, games, anime, they reach a point between two great opponents, worthy opponents. It's like once the power and stats are matched up and they're even out, it's a matter of who can figure out what advantage or slight tactic you can use to get the one up on the other and use that to ultimately become the winner. So in Boruto's case, his advantage is literally, bro, I got two personalities, bro. So regardless, you could whoop me, but hey, I'm gonna summon someone else. He probably got the same power, but he just think different and he just breathe different. And he just chaotic in general. And you may not be used to that. So it's something like that where like Jura spends his time, like we seen what Boruto did by himself, like using Momoshiki's power. Like he cut off his foot, you know what I'm saying? He got a couple good hits in. He caught Jura by surprise, and Jura was like, yeah, let's end this. So giving him the karma on top of that, Jura's gonna think like, yeah, this is it, this is the pinnacle. All of a sudden, boom, Ichiko Bankai mask. You know what I'm saying? Now the nigga acting like a hollow. He's screaming around the battlefield. And it's just wild. Like Jura's yet to come face to face. Like, I don't know, maybe he remembers all his time he spent with Ishiki and Jigen, but he's yet to come like as a conscious being, come face to face with the true born Otsutsuki. He's been playing around with frogs in Boruto and Kawaki.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, what do you guys think the dynamic between Hidari and Jura is going to be in the future?
Naruto and Sasuke, BFFs.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing.
I feel like Jura's gonna go into like his Naruto freak out once he sees Hidari die. I feel like that's the situation we'll get where it goes full circle. Jura is learning about love, and he's seen multiple times that people through love, like Sarada, Himawari, even Kawaki, love draws them to getting more power. For some reason they're accessing a crazy amount of power through love. I feel like he's gonna go full circle. He's gonna experience the love that he has for Hidari as a friend, and in turn he's gonna realize that just as easily as a sentient person can love, they can also hate. What does a Jinchuriki do when they lose that love? They start to hate, and they tap into more of their Jinchuriki powers. Of course, Hidari isn't a quote-unquote Jinchuriki, but he is a humanoid tailed beast. Tailed beasts are basically a massive amount of chakra with emotions, at least the tailed beasts we're familiar with. So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes full circle to like what Koji said. If you anger Hidari, it's over. So I feel like we will get a Hidari that's just fully... Oh yeah, Jura. We will fully get a Jura who's just fully gone off the rails. He's now fully furious. He might not even care about his plans anymore. He might just want revenge on Hidari, like for Hidari.
Yeah, I like that route. I'm looking at it from the standpoints in Jura's case, like how you broke it down. I think it's a little bit more when he's looking at people like Himawari, Sarada, Kawaki, all like he's seeing them unlock things through love, but I think it ties into even deeper, and it ultimately connects at the end to Hidari and his inevitable defeat at the hands of Boruto and Sarada. But like he's looking at them gain powers, but the reason why it's a conflicting topic and he's still spending so much time on it because at first he's seeing also like the same people or like of the like and within the same area group lose because of the very same thing. So in this case is like he's trying to ponder Enojin's actions because Enojin did something crazy in the act of love and he lost his life, quote unquote, at the time because of it. But in turn, right off the bat, Himawari does something crazy in the act of love and she gains power. Despite it not being enough, that was intriguing to him. And then he goes on to see Boruto do the same thing and him saving not only Himawari and then Sarada, but then he's about to kill Boruto. And then he calls it an act of the gods, which is actually funny because Jura was just born. But he calls it an act of the gods that like, yeah, I need to get Hidari's thorn soul out of here. And Boruto, you're gonna live to see another day. But at that point in time, he's thinking now he just pondered everything. And that's what ultimately enticed the conversation the next time he saw Boruto and Kawaki, because he's like, what is love? Because he's seen people die for it, and then he's seen people get stronger for it. And then in this case, it happens again, because then he sees Yodo literally die and sacrifice herself in a case where she actively really wanted the Thorn Soul Bowl because she wanted to get back the person who basically was copied from Ryu. And then he sees Sarada in turn get stronger because of Yodo dying because of the same thing, which is love. So all of that goes to say, like, in turn, he connects the dots to where he literally thinks about Hidari's question, and then he sits there for a second and actually tries to imagine a scenario or a world where Hidari isn't there. And he's like, I think I would have been sad. So that's him basically seeing how everything plays out and him understanding this must be the bond that so-and-so has in order to entice these type of emotions or actions. So like Ryzen, which you ultimately said, Hidari dying, that's going to trigger ultimately back to what Koji said, Jorah's wrath. But in this case, it's even deeper. So I see it like how Ikimoto is drawing us towards that path where we're seeing actively in real time Jura seeing things from a third party sense and then putting himself in a situation or scenario where he can be the person experiencing the love and losing the love. And his result or his response is basically, I would be sad. But we don't know what a sad Jura, like we seen what sad villains look like. Like we know the Void is sad and Sentry and shit like that. We know that. So like, yeah, sad villain can be very dangerous.
Do we think Sasuke, when Hidari inevitably gets killed, do we think Sasuke is gonna get sealed away, or at least his Thorn Soul is gonna get sealed away, and we won't get Sasuke for a bit?
Nah, we're gonna get Sasuke.
Because if you think about it, if Sasuke fully comes back, what's to stop Jura from just kidnapping Sasuke, getting a clawgram, and getting Hidari back? I feel like if Kawaki now knows how the inner mechanics of the Thorn Soul, I kind of wouldn't put it past Kawaki to steal that Thorn Soul, seal it away, and says Sasuke is not coming back until after Jura is dealt with, or even just steal Sasuke away. I don't know.
That's also a path. Yeah. That's not far fetched.
Because it feels like we might have to put Jura in a situation where he can't recover Hidari at all, unless you want to say that once the human is back, even if you put them in a tree again, there's no telling what kind of creature, what kind of new Shinju is gonna appear. So like, you could argue that might not be Hidari, but like I feel like it would be interesting to keep Sasuke away from the story because he kind of got sealed out, treat after Naruto was sealed away. When Naruto loses a power up, Sasuke loses a power up. So it would be fitting if they both get unsealed around the same time.
I think it's gonna happen inevitably because it like the only out is like what you said, Kawaki's ability, because in that Daikoku in the dimension, no time or space and it doesn't move. And we know the main weakness for the Thorn Soul Bulb is that it rots extremely fast. So Boruto's whole entire mission is to kill Hidari, don't relish in the victory, get straight to Sasuke and revive him. Either that.
Didn't they say that Bug just gave up though?
I mean, Bug was also he wasn't a ninja, so he might have more time with Sasuke, and plus Boruto also wanted to try to invoke a fight, and you know what I'm saying, entice this guy Cold throughout all of that. So all of these different things plays into that scenario. But ultimately, whenever it happens, once the fight with Hidari goes down and the Thorn Soul becomes visible, like when what happened the last time, you need to you need to hurry up and get out of there. Because Boruto would have never get shot had he, well, we don't know. He probably still could have. But we know Kawaki stopped to ask him questions, just like how he did with Mamushi's Thorn Soul. Like, what is that? When he had Hidari's Thorn Soul bulb, and right when Boruto was about to answer, well, after Boruto already answered, he basically said, yo, I'm gonna cut your arm off, get off me. I need to get this back to my master. And then, you know what I'm saying, Kawaki was about to ask another question, and then Boruto got shot. And then Sarada was like, wait, he just said that can save my dad. And she went to go grab it, and then she got shot. So he can't waste time like he did last time. So if Kawaki doesn't simply take it and basically be like, yeah, Sasuke would be a problem if he comes back for me, I'm going to seal this in the Daikokuten, that will solve the situation for it rotting, and you're just going to have to deal with that. Boruto, I wouldn't put it past him to basically ride out with that scenario, because he's like, you know what? I need to deal with you. I'm going to knock you upside your head, but let's go ahead and deal with this JURA situation first. So if not, they got to get to Sasuke. And we know Koji said Sasuke being revived is the world, you know what I'm saying, where, you know, it's a slim chance, but that's the path to take if you want to defeat JURA. And it's also the path that Boruto dies in most of the timelines. So we know it's a job that gets done, but it's a matter of, does Boruto die? And if he doesn't, can they defeat JURA?
Yeah, I feel like I look at this completely different in a way where I just don't even see JURA as that big of a threat anymore. After the 2v1,
that's
like
crazy.
his aura just went completely down for me. Well, maybe not his aura went down, but more of Boruto and Kawaki's aura went up.
I mean, like, other than Damon, who's putting the pause on JURA? Like, let's be honest.
Boruto and Kawaki.
If they could have did that, like, at that point in time, they wouldn't have flying Raijin away. So now you're saying with the power-ups, now Boruto got his new sword, he could use Karma. You think, like, Boruto still was like,
That's
yo, I
even
need
worse.
Momoshiki. He's not even thinking just Kawaki. He's like, I need Momoshiki to handle this JURA thing.
Nah, I don't even think he. Again, maybe my guy got Metal League type of anxiety or something like that. When I see Kawaki and Boruto versus JURA, it wasn't a standard 2v1. Kawaki had his turn, and then Boruto had his turn, and JURA barely made it out alive. If they both worked together to fight against JURA, like how Naruto and Sasuke did with Ishiki and Jigen, all due respect, I don't think JURA, without course, we talk about the wood style thing, basically saving JURA can't beat them.
I think he kicked out his mic again.
I did.
Oh, no, my fault. You went in and out. I didn't hear you. Am I the only one?
I heard.
No, he went in and out.
Yeah, I was about to say, unless I'm bugging, he went in and out.
Hello? Yeah, hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So I was saying, the 2v1 with Naruto, I mean, the 2v1 with Kawaki Boruto versus JURA, it wasn't a standard 2v1. I was saying it was more of like Boruto went first, and then Kawaki went after that, and JURA barely made it out of that. So not even talking about the current upgrades to Boruto and Kawaki, just the pre-upgraded Boruto and Kawaki, if they actually had a proper 2v1, like how Naruto and Sasuke did with Ishiki or Jigen, then I believe they would have probably, I'm not going to say they would have beat JURA, because of course we talk about the wood style and that essentially being his lifeline, being able to save him that other time. I'm saying JURA would not be able to beat Boruto and Kawaki if they teamed up pre-upgrades.
If they thought that, bro, that's what I'm saying, though. If they actually thought that, bro, Kawaki would have threw his bow staff at JURA's dome when he was sitting on that chair the minute Boruto showed up next to him. But they were like, nah, let's dip.
That's a weakened Boruto. It's different.
I mean, to be fair,
Boruto could have been like on some, yo, because we already see Boruto is willing to stall himself. So he could have been like, let's play, you know what I'm saying, hot potato. I stall, boom, you stall. Boruto flying Raijins them out of there. And then he'd be like, y'all handle the Soul Thorn ball because we can handle the excuse of rotten. And then I come back, and then me and Kawaki handle JURA. If they really had faith that it could be done at that point in time, that would have been the plan. But Boruto's like, nah, we just dipping. We gotta go. Let's just leave for another time.
That's one of the things
to be
I said.
To be fair, do we take Amado as a decent judge of character? Because we had a kind of a Dragon Ball Z moment where while Sumire and Amado were watching the fight, Sumire said, "Whoa, I can't believe he's able to push Jura this much. Maybe he can actually." Then she paused. Then Amado is sweating and says, "No." He goes on like, "No, there's like more to Jura." Jura takes out his book, casually reads, says Uzumaki Kawaki. As I thought, you're displaying incomparably greater combat ability than before. However, did you manage to acquire such power in so short a time? And then he's just narrating, so it feels like, yeah, this was just him wanting to experience Kawaki's power. I still don't think Kawaki's anywhere close, especially because the Kawaki that fought Mamushi is supposed to be a Kawaki with more battle power.
But the Kawaki
and that Kawaki still seemingly wouldn't be able to beat Jura. Like let's say for argument's sake, we cap Kawaki right now at 50% strength and defense. Can we agree on that, or do we want to say another number?
What you mean, like current Kawaki?
Like the Kawaki that was fighting Jura right now. What would we estimate his combat split? Would we say 50, 50-50?
I think they said it in the chapter. It was 85% battle power, 15% defense.
I mean, we gotta guess what he was against Jura. I mean, even that is like even that doesn't matter because that's changing the entire premise up to like this full power Kawaki enough. Like in terms of Kawaki and Boruto, at that current point in time, were they to try to jump Jura simultaneously, it still wouldn't been enough. And it's like
been enough.
Because like we have to take into account literally, Jura's fighting and he's like, yo, I'm trying to kill Boruto, right? That's what he's saying. I'm gonna kill Boruto. And he's shooting Bijou bombs and they're big and they're blasting and he's shooting sniper. But he's literally talking himself throughout the entire fight. He's like, wow, so smaller bombs are more effective against you than bigger ones. After he said that, we never seen a bigger Bijou bomb from Jura a day in his life, and it's been almost 15 chapters. So he's literally just adjusting throughout the fight, and he's not actively like trying to kill Boruto out of bloodlust. Like it goes back like one of the lifelines that people hold on to in Naruto versus Sasuke. It's like, oh, Sasuke's trying to kill Naruto, and Naruto's just trying to not kill him. That's why Naruto's stronger. But like Jura's doing the same thing. He's literally like invoking a conversation with Boruto throughout the battle, and he's like, yo, making empty promises like, yo, I'm gonna keep your sword if you just tell me who you're working with. If not, I guess I just have to kill you. Like we have to take into account like he's not urgently trying to kill Boruto. He's actively trying to kill him, but he's not urgently trying to kill him.
I understand that. Maybe I'm wearing different. I will probably leave it off with this, or I'll probably leave it off this, and of course we'll probably discuss this more in the next podcast. But the way Koji was explaining it, where it's like if Boruto leaves the village, or if Boruto just steps foot in random spots, Jigen's gonna kill him. I think if Boruto goes to the Hidden Sand Village for a cup of tea, Jura can't do. Well, with Kawaki, Jura can't do a thing.
If you're gonna talk like if you're taking to like Koji's statement, you know how I feel about Koji and when he be talking about definites and undefinites. Like I'll be calling Koji on his bullshit. So like that's a whole different thing for me. Like him talking about like he was like, yo, Jura's gonna kill you faster than you could say Rasengan. Boruto said Rasengan Uzahiko, and he got it off against Jura. So like I don't take anything like when it comes to Koji, it's like it's wishy-washy, my guys. So that's how I be feeling.
But like also, don't forget, Kawaki did blast Jura in their final in their final kind of
dryer back there.
Oh yeah, it's my fan. It's like hot and I'm dying. That's why we turned off real quick.
I thought he had a dryer with like
it's my fan.
That had an FN switch on it, man.
Nah, that dryer had Tim's in it.
Well,
Tim's in the red boots.
Like I was saying, so we have Jura who's been pretty much weakened, or not weakened, but like he's been scuffed up. We have Kawaki blast him with his chakra blast, and at that point, nothing really happens to JURA. Then he heals, and he's treating it like a casual experience. Like he's not really like worried at all. He's just humming. He's just talking. He's just getting information. You know, he's having like a chill day. So it feels like, yeah, we saw JURA lose an eye. We saw him lose a leg. But for characters that can regenerate, I don't see that as them necessarily getting pushed. And, you know, I like using Dragon Ball a lot because, you know, even Ikamoto says he takes inspiration from Dragon Ball. I mean, look at the amount of time Cell got chopped up or just cut up, and we never thought he was getting pushed. Same thing with Boo. A lot of times where Boo got his body parts cut up, it wasn't like he was getting beaten. It was just he's a regeneration character. He's a regeneration villain. Yeah. So I don't think we should necessarily fully use the physical damage that JURA takes as a starting line to him getting pushed. I think we have to look at it more. We have to look at
like his reaction to
his reactions and what he's saying. Like if he was really getting pushed, I feel like there would be a different type of reaction for it, similar to like Cell when he was actually getting pushed by Gohan, or even that brief moment when he got hit by Goku's instant transmission Kamehameha and admitted that that was a good shot, but like still, I'm still stronger. So me personally, you know, this is just my opinion. I feel like because JURA is specifically a regeneration character, I wouldn't necessarily put him in a situation where, oh yeah, he lost an eye, so he got pushed. Same thing with like Madara. Now, you know, you guys know how I hate using Madara because I think equating Madara to Jigen to JURA is just like an ant to a dinosaur. But even look at Madara when he got his lower half chopped off. That didn't necessarily mean Madara was getting pushed at that point in time. It just meant he's a regeneration character, so you can have him lose a few body parts, and it doesn't necessarily show that he's getting pushed. It's just showcasing regeneration and stuff. But that's just my 2 cents on it. Just because, you know, Ikamoto does love Dragon Ball, so we also got to keep that in mind.
We can even keep it in the series. It's like when they Team 7 first fought Boro, they were blasting his head off, his torso, his arms, his shoulders, all that. So.
Yeah, true.
I disagree with the overall premise, but we'll get into that next part. We'll get into that.
Yeah, right. My boy Ryzen is getting sick, so we're gonna leave it off on here. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. We'll catch y'all on the next one. What day, guys?
I'm down
Sunday,
whenever.
I guess.
Yeah, Sunday. I guess.
Sunday, and then
we
go back to our regular Sunday.
I'm sorry,
schedule.
I got distracted by who got body slammed in the background of Ryzen's.
Do we want to? Should we choose a new designated day, or is Sunday like good for everybody all the time?
Yeah, Sunday is always good for me.
It was up to y'all. Yes. I'm pretty much
always good to me.
As long as it's 8, I could pretty much do most days.
Yeah, Sunday is cool for me. I'm off that day, so that's better. But yeah, guys. Yeah, we'll catch y'all on the next one. Thank you for all the members. Thank you for all the love.
All right, fellas. Until next time.
Of course.
Until next time.
Sure.